right. Welcome everybody to the Town of Norfolk Planning Board meeting. In accordance with the provisions of MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20, notice is hereby given that the Planning Board will meet on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in Town Hall, Meeting Room 124. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in person at 1 Liberty Lane, Norfolk, Mass., or by the remote Zoom connection provided. Please note that the in-person meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the remote connection. Going to do some attendance. To my right, we have Gary Searle. Gary Sullivan.
Present.
I'm Chris Montfort, the chair. We've got Dan Seeger.
Present.
Melissa Mayo.
Here. Town
Planner Richard McCarthy. And our executive assistant, Betsy Fischel.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a 7 o'clock appointment for 9 Shire Drive ILP. This is a request for site plan modifications to add emergency generator pad.
We do have Josh White from JDE Civil.
All right. How you doing, Josh?
Good, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. What do we got going on?
So, I can pull up the plans if I'm able to.
Yep, I just made you co-host, Josh.
Perfect, thank you, Betsy. So the plans should be up right now.
Yep.
So basically what's going on is some changes had to be made based on changes from MEP work and client decisions over at ILP. Basically what they're changing how they want to heat the building. They're going from Modine heaters to an HVA, more commercial HVAC system. So they wanted to add a 6x6 pad in the back of the building for that unit. And then they also wanted to add a backup generator. So we have a 6x6 pad shown for that as well, with some bollards around. With these couple changes, as well as another change, doesn't show up on this plan, but basically the sprinkler room is going to be relocated to the front of the building in this corner. It was in the back, and ILP had conversations with the fire department, and they accepted that change. So that was that's changed up here. It'll be inside the building. There's no door to the outside which would be the front of the building, so that's fine. In making these changes, there was a walkway proposed from this door over to this space. That's been removed, so a lot less impervious area based on that. The front parking lot is still going to be accessible, and there's a door right here if it's necessary. They also wanted to add a flagpole that wasn't originally on the plans, but we figured since we're coming here for those couple things, we might as well add that too. So it's going to be located in the front of the building. And I believe that's everything. There's one more thing on this grading and drainage plan. We're also adding an irrigation well in the back. So all of these items are going to be behind the building, hidden from the street, and protected from the parking lot with bollards. And this is the landscaping. Nothing really changed, just more grass area with the removing of the paved walkway in the back. So that's basically all that's involved with this modification request. We wanted to submit it back to the planning board because the town inspectors are going off of the MEP plans and the approved site plan, and they were slightly different. So that's why we wanted to make that change to update the site plan. So they're all looking at the same plans and scope and everything like that. So they'll see everything once it's installed, and they'll be able to compare it appropriately. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, we'll be happy to answer them as best we can.
So this has been reviewed by the fire department already?
Yes, there was not this plan specifically, but whatever had to do with the moving the sprinkler room in the building, that was agreed upon between ILP and the fire chief, I believe last fall. I'm not sure when exactly that happened, but
Okay, but as far as like location of the generator or anything like that, that has not been reviewed with them?
no, I'm not aware that he's seen this plan.
Okay.
You will see the plan when it gets rerouted
Okay.
through.
And then for the flagpole, is there any plan for lights or anything attached to the base or anything like that?
I believe Jeff is on the call from ILP. Jeff, do you know if you're gonna have lights or anything like that?
You're muted.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. My name's Jeff Jerrier with Island Running Power. Just first off, Jim O'Neill, the president of ILP, he did review these site plans, including the relocation of the sprinkler room and the generator location and HVAC with the fire chief. I don't know exactly when that was, but I know it was in the first quarter of this year. And then, yeah, it was last August that I spoke to the fire chief and his lieutenant about relocating the sprinkler room from the back corner of the building to the front side of the building, basically adjacent to Shire. They were pleased with that change because it just provided greater access to them. And quite honestly, it was a little bit of a value engineering for us because we didn't have to run pipe all the way to the other side of the building. We were much closer to the water source right off Shire. As far as the flagpole is concerned, yes, we did envision adding a light, an uplight at the base of the flagpole to shine on the light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? All right, so then I'm looking for a motion to approve the site plan modifications for 9 Shire Drive for ILP.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we are on time for 8 Sharon Avenue. Request for site plan modifications for change of use from contractor's headquarters to indoor recreation. Eliminate the front steps and walkway and modify sign to a 4x4 aluminum. Please come on up. Introduce yourself.
I do.
Bill Globopoulos, I'm the property owner at 8 Sharon Ave.
Dave Fleischman, owner of Wolfpack Athletics, who would be occupying it.
Awesome. All right, tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do.
I guess we needed to do first a change of use from the contractor base to a baseball training facility.
Okay.
Dave and his company is going to be renting the whole building. So that's one of the changes, change of use. We also needed to, asking you to remove the front walkway of the building. It's never going to get used. It's still going to be access out. It's going to be green area. Obviously increase the pervious area and the steps that go into that walkway. And then the third one was we have a granite post for our pylon sign. Just like at 4 Sharon Ave, we want to just make that into 4-inch aluminum.
Okay. Are you going to keep the same number of entrances, or are you going to reduce those down?
Nope, entrance door is going to stay the same.
Okay.
So they'll still be able to access it to the as emergency
Perfect.
egress.
Okay. Any questions from anyone on the board?
When you remove that walkway in the front, what will the porous material
All
be?
grass.
It's just grass right up to the building?
Yeah. Well, I'll probably have some sort of a landing in the front of every door, so when they step out, there's some sort of a, whether it's going to be, I can ask Dan Merricken, who's the engineer, if I can pour concrete there. It's supposed to be all porous area, but maybe some flagstone. I'll put something there as people, if somebody has to use it, they're gonna step into, more than just grass.
So,
And the parking's around the back.
It's all in the
Anyway,
back.
right? So they'll probably use those doors.
Yes.
so in terms of process-wise, there's not, it's really gonna, it would be a two-step process because the plans that are on record need to be updated. So to change the parking computation for the new use based on determination, the plans need to be, the description needs to be removed because it's not going to be contractor any longer if it gets approved. The detail should change and put if you're going to put concrete by each door, we should have that detail sheet should be changed.
Do we have to, can we just leave, can we leave it just grass and maybe put some piece of flagstone in front of the doors?
I mean, I don't particularly have a preference, I guess. If you put something that's besides grass, whatever you're gonna do, we need to show it on the
Yeah,
plan.
okay, we will. And as far, I know you mentioned parking.
Yeah,
I
so
think-
the parking computation right now is based off of contractor's
I
headquarters?
think Dave had figured out that, the building inspector had figured out that we do have enough parking spaces for a 70.
Well, the determination, so there's a determination that was sent to the board.
That's it? Sorry.
But that is what, at least that's the layout
Yeah.
of what's proposed inside the building.
Yeah.
So it's-
What you were looking for?
Yeah, there's demo for, yeah.
So approved site plan, wait, go back up.
I'm sorry.
The approved site plan, right there, stop. Provides 25 spaces, which corresponds to a design occupancy of approximately 75 persons. If the applicant seeks a higher occupancy, additional parking will be required.
So it will have to be self-limited in the approval, because there's not, because otherwise, 220 divided by 3 is, I don't know, do the math, it's, what,
Right.
80 some places, so.
So then ideally, when they get their occupancy, it's for that amount.
Your approval should also be correspond with that, so it's locked into that number.
You think you'll go over 75?
No, I don't think we'll get to 75 people at one time.
I've never seen that many people play baseball before.
I don't think, yeah, even there's, yeah. I don't think we'll get to, I mean, no way.
You'd have to expand if you did.
Well, yeah, that's fine. That's a good problem to have.
I think the other thing we'll probably add in, just as a condition, is just parking management, so that you're not parking on Sharon's Avenue.
Yep.
Because it should be on site. There shouldn't be a need to be out in Sharon's Avenue with parking, just to, as additional condition. I know the 10 Sharon Avenue, I see them parking out on Sharon's Avenue because they probably need more parking on the property. That's separate, but I want to make sure that's on the property, parking as part of the approval. Especially since there's neighbors there, but also the the police is located there as well, so.
What's in so on that part that we were just looking at where there's like the lanes for baseball where I assume
Yep.
it's like one-on-one training, what's the bigger area that's to the right of that and closer to, the right side of the building if you're looking from the street? Thank you.
The bigger green spot right there?
Yes.
That's open turf space, so it's still training. That's baseball training that's happening during those. So there's hitting going on in the 4 cages or pitching going on in those cages. We also have open space, and then you can take the nets back and it becomes one big space, so that we can kind of have like our team practice there, or so the main focus is classes, so it's not,
What's your max class size?
like 7 or 8. We try to, at most it would ever be 10, but we just try to keep it small. Also, from a coach to kid ratio, you want to keep that small too,
Yep.
so kids are getting the most out of it.
How many classes concurrently would you typically have?
Like maybe 2 or so, 3 max. 2 probably.
So it's like half the capacity of what you'd be.
Yeah. If we at some point would be 3, sure, but I don't think it's going to be like an amazing amount. We don't want 6, we don't want 75 kids in there at once. It's also not about that. It's about more structured training and reps for kids too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the audience?
Hi, I have a question.
Hi. Are you Laura and or Jake?
Actually, I'm Tim Morrissey.
All right.
Sharon Ave.
Thank you.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good. My question is, what are the hours going to be? Because the exit of this place shines right into my bedroom and my living room. The exiting car's lights.
Most likely, it'll probably be I would say 8 p.m. at its latest, or 7:30, 8 p.m. at its latest.
Okay.
And weekends earlier.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's more about the nighttime, Well, in the winter, it's 4 o'clock at night, so. But also, I did see a question from my neighbor. Will the doors be open, or how will the sound be with the baseballs, the hitting with the aluminums, and all of that?
No, the doors will not be open. Everything will be closed off. There's nets that's going to be securing the entire space, so everything is hit into a net. Yeah. It's not hit into, and it very much is condensed into the facility. It wouldn't be pinging outside too often.
Okay. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
This is Michelle Daskowitz at 11 Sharon Ave. When you say not too often, what are you referring to? Are we going to hear a lot of the noise or not? We had a problem with the bay across the street, and they rented to a band at one time, and it was horrible for months of listening to this noise. So I want to know what the noise control is going to be.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to be hearing loud noises outside the facility. A lot of it is condensed, and with the nets that are in there, a lot of it is condensed into the facility. So I don't expect you to hear noises out there.
Okay, and there's no concern regarding traffic? You don't expect that many coming every hour? It just, this is the second facility housing kids on the street with the police flying up and down the street. That's my concern. There's some cops that go quite fast, and you're going to have kids coming in and out of cars, in and out of driveways. So it's just a concern that we have, in our neighborhood.
I think the good part about that is that it's condensed to the back of the facility where the pickup and the drop off is going to be with all the parking spaces. So it's not going to be on the front where kids are going to be running out front. We're not going to be utilizing that front space either, like playing baseball outside in that grass patch that's out. That's not what we're using it for. So you won't have baseballs flying in your front yard, and you won't have kids running across the street looking for baseballs. Again, everything's the facility, and the method of in and out is out back where that parking is.
What age group are you aiming this towards?
So we start at 7-year-olds, and we go all the way up until 18.
Okay. There'll be no loitering after practice. Will they be leaving the facility as soon as they're done?
Yes, they need to get in and get out, and that's what we preach to them too. Is that get your stuff, get out of there. Your parents are waiting. Parents know to be picked up, so no, there's no loitering.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, hearing none, Rich, let's break this down. All right, so first we're going to change the, do the change for use from contractor bays to recreational facility. So,
Yes. And that all need to be, again, it'll be a two-step process.
right, so we do this one first, and then I'm tying the occupancy to the second piece or the first piece?
I kind of like to see it before that, actually. So,
All right,
I think I'm proposing a compromise of at least these will be what we included, have the plans changed, and then you can officially approve it at the May meeting. Because that way, everything will be documented ahead of time, so we're not, because the building's under construction, so
right.
it's kind of, I don't want to have things hanging out there with some tieback.
I'm feeling I'm in a good mood. It was a really good sunrise this morning. And I am okay with looking at this from a as-built perspective. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're feeling pretty,
Is that too much?
I think it's too much.
Okay.
I know he wants to say too much, but we just got done approving something where the plans are showing what they're doing. So,
How long till you're moving in?
Thinking June 1st, maybe.
All right, so May is
Probably
not a
after that.
horrible timeline for us to come back and do an official vote on everything once you've got the plans updated and everything.
So update the plans showing the outside. I mean, his use is not going to be on a plan, or is it?
Well, you
Oh, I
have
want the-
contractor bays on there, so you gotta remove the
Okay.
contractor bays. You
Yeah.
gotta make it a recreational facility. You
Okay.
gotta kill the sidewalk. You've gotta put the flagstone or whatever it is you're putting at each doorway.
Okay,
And then you have to put the occupancy onto the drawings as well.
okay.
Anything else I missed?
and the sign.
And the sign. Update the sign.
Yep.
And now's a great time to add a flagpole, apparently,
With lights.
with lights.
Yeah.
All right, so we look forward to seeing you again in May then.
Should we do the change of use now so they can start doing whatever they have to do?
Is that okay?
Or does that have to be tied to, it seems like it could be separate.
Rich wants to tie everything to actual drawings sitting in front of the desk.
I think you can do the change of use.
Change of
now.
use is so, yeah, I mean,
You could do that. Just a little,
Appreciate that.
little,
Because he's got to get
I
orders.
just have to I know, June is a move in, but yeah, there's a lot of planning,
I know.
so.
all right. I'm feeling somewhat. So take your vote on the change of use. Okay.
Thank
And
you,
then you
Melissa.
have the plans updated.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion for the change of use for 8 Sharon Ave from contractor bays to recreational facility.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion is passed. All right, so get the drawings updated, and we'll see you in May.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is there a date in May, or?
Second Tuesday, May 12th.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
Take care.
guys. Thank you.
All right, now we have our 7:15 Echo. 7:15 meeting for 90, 92, 96, 100, and 100R Pond Street. This is continued from March 10th, 2026. We have Next Grid on the line.
We do.
All right, how's it going, Daniel?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for having me. Sorry I couldn't make it in public, or to the in person rather. Had a flight today, so I just got back from New England. So I know you guys have two things you want to talk about: the project itself, but I believe you guys also wanted a stormwater update. So I have Landon, our construction manager, and Brian from DSC on the line, who's the civil engineer, who's helped prepare the NIPD's docks and the stormwater pollution prevention plan. So if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to get that done. Again, they can log off after that and we can start the update on the battery.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Landon, do you just want to give an update on where we're at and where we've been?
Yeah. So last couple weeks since the site visit with the EPA, Brian has prepared and filed a NIPD's permit, the general construction permit for stormwater. That was approved 2 days ago. We got that back. We're in the process of contracting Brian and his team to monitor all that SWIP report and keep it going for the duration of the project. All items have been addressed on site. We've reinstalled silt sock. We've added additional silt sock. We've added additional silt fence in the high volume areas. Completed the riprap spillways along the roadside. Cleaned out the storm drain, silt sacks. We've refreshed the road so the mud doesn't track onto the pond street. Continuing sweeping, and we're actively removing the soil piles that are closest to Pond Street.
Okay. Now, Rich, do you have a copy of that approval?
Yeah, there's a copy in the shared drive. The construction.
All right. Brian, anything you want to add?
No, I'm sorry. I haven't been out to see the site recently, so I really don't have anything further. But yeah, I mean, as soon, we're going to get out there soon. We'll be doing the weekly inspections as required, and the reporting, and deficiencies will be cleaned up and taken care of within the 7 days as required by the EPA. So no, nothing further.
Okay. One thing I have noticed from driving around is the auto body shop is parking across the top of your silt stock on that, I guess, south side of the property boundary. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen them on top of the silt stock. I saw them, encroaching on the property, but I didn't know I didn't see them driving on top of it.
Okay. Just keep an eye on it, because it definitely looks like there's silt stock underneath half of the vehicles that they have on that side where their property borders yours.
Okay, yeah, our plan is, once we kind of get going again, is put that perimeter fence up as soon as possible.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience as pertains to the stormwater?
Grab a microphone.
Please come up to the front, introduce yourself, name and address.
Hi, my name is Julie Mulcahy, 33 Stanhope Drive. Where will the snow from the site be plowed, and how is the resulting meltwater accounted for in the stormwater design given the ledge conditions, and has the updated design been independently reviewed?
I can say, once it's operational, we don't plow the sites unless we need access for maintenance.
And in that case, it's one road
Within the property.
within the property. That's it. That would be get plowed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Am I to understand there's no plan except for do it if it snows?
There's no requirement for them to plow. They don't need access to the site. They're not going to do anything.
Okay, and how is the meltwater accounted for in the new designs?
That's accounted for in the stormwater drainage plan.
Okay, and has the updated design been independently reviewed?
Has Beta reviewed the updates?
They are. Yes, they're ongoing review.
It's ongoing, or yes, they've been reviewed?
It's both. So they have been reviewed, and they're continuing to be reviewed until this modification gets approved.
I do have concerns that ongoing modifications seem to be a pattern, so just worried to make sure we pause for the approvals between them is a concern of the citizen.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we currently have the approval for the current plan, and so what we're going to do is ensure that Beta reviews it, provides us any concerns that they have, and then we'll come back to NextGrid and have a conversation with them.
Okay, seems like a rotation, but I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, Landon, Brian, if that's all you have, we'll go back to Dan. Oh, hold on, we got one more.
Sorry.
No worries, come on up.
Andy Bakanowski. I think that the plowing issue actually needs to be partially reviewed by the fire department, because every single solar field I've ever worked on requires 24-hour access. So as much as 2 inches of snow versus 2 inches of ice, that has to be looked at. It's a pain in the neck for the developers, but that's usually part of the conditions, and I don't know what you have done. The other thing that is a little interesting to see is the timing of putting the NIPD's permit in, is when the actual removal of trees and the disturbance of that 1 acre threshold was done almost 8 months ago. So I'm not quite sure why that fell off the checklist. Having had to deal with a couple problems with the EPA coming in because of off-site drainage, not much worse than what we had here. But again, that's something that, when you look at this, I guess the questions to be asked. And Dan from NextGrid, just so you know, I am the biggest proponent of solar. I'm not trying to bust balls here, but I'm at the same time, I'm really trying. I guess I have a certain level of expectations with these projects and all the ones I've ever worked on too. Also sitting on the Board of Health, I would like to invite you to come in and just talk with the board about the safety stuff and where we, as a board, specifically deviate from what the fire department is. The fire department deals with when a problem happens. The Board of Health does have a codified responsibility to identify potential, and the legal interpretations in the papers that I've read, and I got highly educated this past weekend on a lot of this stuff. The word may carries as much legal weight as the word shall. So I'm asking that. Come in and just talk with us, and we want to see. And our goal is not to stop the project, it's to maintain compliance, and a lot of that happens with inspections, periodic reporting, and unfortunately it's more paperwork, but understanding how things can go south really quick with these battery storage systems. If it does go south, we need to be aware of what's going to happen, and I'd rather have the plans in place well before it becomes a case of who's doing what, what's happening here. So that's, Betsy will be reaching out to you at some point here, hopefully sooner than later, and we'll go from there. So, okay?
Yeah, may I please respond, Chair?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so a few things. So in our operations and maintenance plan, it does show that we will plow after every snow event to the equipment pads. But in this site, that's not a particularly long plowing run that's going to result in big snow piles. It's relatively close to the road. So that is addressed in our operations and maintenance plan, which is part of the public record. I can let Landon talk more, but we did, we will take responsibility. Obviously we did not file our NIPD's permit when we were supposed to. The candid reason is that we had hired another contractor that was supposed to do that, and we ended up firing them before they broke ground, and the new contractor was under the impression that was already placed and it wasn't, and we made a mistake. We're sorry. We definitely met with the EPA on site and explained the situation to them and got them on board. So, that was a mistake and oversight. It's never happened to us before, and we hope it doesn't happen again. We're sorry it happened in a town that is interested in what we're doing and that we're having these problems right now with stormwater. So we do apologize and acknowledge that. Lastly, I will talk about this later, but the town manager there, or the town administrator, did reach out and said he's planning a public event, and he's going to be inviting all boards, as well as the DOER and the public, to try to get all these battery questions kind of handled at one time with everybody involved. And so I'm sure he'll be reaching out to you and the Board of Health to get you guys on board for that meeting, I believe near the end of May.
Okay.
So it's May 7th.
Or May 7th, the beginning of May, sorry.
Beginning of May. 7 p.m. in the Freeman Kennedy cafeteria.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, ready to switch topics? Not yet. Name and street.
My name is John Bowman. I live at 44 Lakeshore Drive. I also sit on the Board of Health. Sat through a fairly long meeting earlier this week where some concerns that other towns are experiencing were discussed in detail.
So I don't mean to I will interrupt you, actually, not because I want to, because there's two of you here in the room from the Board of Health, and we did not post you as a public body to be here. So if you want to talk as a citizen of the town of Norfolk.
So I'm speaking as a citizen of the Board
Okay,
of Health.
that's got to be.
Speaking as a citizen
Okay.
of the town.
I want to be just.
I do believe a representative from the Board of Health did speak, and he did invite the folks to come to the Board of Health.
Yes.
I'm just reiterating this, not as a member of the Board of Health, but as a citizen. Okay, there are some concerns that should be discussed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good.
I guess one question I have is, since Andy, I'm going to just put,
Go ahead.
so is May, so Rob, if Rob hasn't reached out to you, Gary, about the May 7th meeting.
I heard it was the 6th or 7th or 8th already.
So it's definitely the 7th. Is that, do you want to have a separate meeting next to it outside, prior to that, or just asking just a logistical question? Or is that?
I'll come back up. I don't know. I mean, my feeling is the more communication, the better. I know we have a meeting scheduled at the end of this month. If Dan would be amenable to zooming in, we can have a quick, I guess, expectations of what the board is concerned about from the perspective of human health and the environment. And this way, we're greasing your skids a little bit to gear your talk and your information to what's important. And as you always know, things go much larger than you anticipate. So I think that might be to your benefit. And I guess see what happens on the 7th. So,
okay. No, that's what I wanted to ask.
And Rich, just so you know, the John and I did attend the same conference, and the fact that we aren't deliberating here allows us to be here without being posted. This was actually a section that they talked about open meeting law. So I know it's a sensitive issue for a lot of people, but what John and I being here, we're not talking about any project per se in deliberation, not making any decisions. So we're very careful. We're being very careful about that.
Well, we've had open meeting violations against the town. I don't want to have any more if we can avoid it.
I understand.
So.
I understand. No, I understand. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And just the last piece, I guess, right? That'd be, so we don't have the peer review yet from Jensen Hughes on the battery storage, which they do know, but just to let people know. And I've asked them to have that for that public forum. I don't see a reason why it won't be. So just for the public, because we don't have it yet. So.
And when we get it, we'll post it on the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick question, just to be, Andy, and it's probably to you. Just to be as effective as possible, you've been here a couple of times, you've asked him some questions in the past, and I think you may have even invited him once before in the past, but have you communicated what your conversation and questions will be about when he finally arrives at, whether it's the 7th meeting or a meeting directly with the Board of Health, or just, again, normally we try to say, we will be talking to you, but here's our questions. Do you feel some need that you wouldn't do that in advance?
I have a running list of, sorry.
I can actually jump in there while you're getting seated. So there were a bunch of different places where questions were being asked, and one of the places, Daniel Serber took a ton of notes. I tried to get them as best as I could as well. Jack had some questions. Andy had some questions.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there was also a memo a while back now, and Daniel and the team at NextGrid responded to that already. So there were a lot of different places with the questions. So Jack and I met at the library, put everything into one document, organized it by, these are battery questions, this is, more internal for the select board type of thing.
It's been conveyed to NextGrid.
I don't know. So I gave it to Rob Garrity, and Rob was trying to plan this, right?
Yeah.
So I will follow up with Rob and make sure that, and Andy, you can contribute to that. I know I had some of your questions in there, but if you have others, we can certainly add to that.
I have a list. I'm going to say some of it's almost irrelevant, but it's just sort of more out of curiosity. But I will flesh that out. And I guess the question is, copy Rich and Betsy and Rob on those questions that I have. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but Melissa, do you want to be copied on
Yeah,
as well? I
just-
mean, it's not the full board.
Yeah, that's
and I understand.
Yeah, it's not the
Do
full
it that
board,
way.
but yeah, I have that
Okay.
document. Jack has it as well, but I can one of us, just send it to me, and I'll put yours into the spreadsheet, because that's the one place for all outstanding questions right now.
Okay. Okay.
All right, awesome.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, and then in light of not having the peer review for the battery, I do not want to entertain questions on the battery at this point in time, especially since we do have a forum on the 7th where we can address questions at that time, post-review of the peer review.
Chris, are you aware of the struggle of trying to get a peer reviewer was?
What's the timeline?
It was wide open. I mean, I gave just so you know, I gave the fire chief 7 names of companies, and several declined because they work with NextGrid. So I mean, that the conflict of interest is there, but believe me, this was very challenging, and I'm just letting you know that the time and effort to take to at least get that, I think we probably lost 3 to 4 weeks maybe. So then I think when we met in January. So I mean, nothing. I have no idea even when it started, but I think it was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
And typically, from my professional experience, these can take 2 months. So, yep. So, okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Andy.
Awesome. All right, any other topics for discussion? Dan, anything on your side?
No, if you don't want me to go through the memo and response to those questions and just wait till the 7th, that's more than fine with me.
Any concerns?
I think you already responded to the memo questions, right? Did you receive an updated version?
No, I just meant if you wanted me to go over those.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me just,
We can wait till the 7th, it's fine.
I mean, I think you'd probably want a heads up, just so you can be prepared. So I had sent them, so I'll wait for Andy's questions, make another version update, send it to our town administrator, Rob, and the crew here, so that everybody knows what questions there are. And then I'll ask Rob or Rich to send them over to you, just so you're prepared, so that you can have the answers.
Awesome. Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
All right. Anything else from the audience? All right. Thank you very much, Dan.
So you'll need to continue.
Thanks very much.
I need a motion to continue the 90, 92, 96, 100, and 100R Pond Street
So moved.
public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, 7:30, we've got 33 Pond Street Recreation Complex. Site plan approval for construction of pickleball courts and ADA improvements.
What time did you continue to?
Oh, I didn't continue it to a day. Continue to the May 12th meeting at, what time?
Why don't we go 7:15?
7:15. Do I have a second? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion's carried. See you May 12th at 7:15. Awesome. You are up, yes.
Notice is hereby given in accordance to Mass General Law, Section 4. Is this the right one?
33 Pond?
Pickleball?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Now
Aye.
it's a new
All those
strategy.
opposed? All right. All right, so 33 Pond Street. Site plan approval. Please, come on up, introduce yourselves.
Oh, look who's back. It's a special evening.
That wasn't very long.
Was trying to figure out how to introduce myself. So I am Ann Prado, formerly the Recreation Director, but still around helping out with projects that are ongoing.
My name is Bill Buckley, and I work for Bay Colony Group, and I'm here there representing the applicant's engineer.
And I'm going to introduce Josh Walther, Recreation Director. So we are here to talk to you about 33 Pond Street and the engineering work that Bill has done. We are addressing the pickleball courts, but also ADA accessibility. This is a phased project. We do have the funding for the pickleball courts. We are planning on applying for grant for additional ADA work, which is documented here. We actually did apply for 2 grants for ADA accessibility, one at Freeman Kennedy, which we received, one at Pond Street, which we did not receive, but we actually didn't expect to receive both. And it's fine, because we probably couldn't have gotten it all done anyway. So we will be reapplying for that, but this gave us the opportunity to do all the engineering at one time together. And as we do the pickleball court, we will be addressing some of the ADA. And then we will continue with that project down the line.
Is that the plan you wanted?
That's good, thanks, Ann. So again, good evening. My name is Bill Buckley, and what we put up is a rendering for the board to look at as we do it, and we have the plan set as well. So I think everybody's familiar with the location, 33 Pond Street. It's a 20.8 acre parcel of land located on the east side of Pond Street. It's about 800 feet north of the intersection of Marshall Street, and it was constructed around 1999-ish by the town. It currently, it services a multitude of activities: baseball, soccer, football, basketball, right? Tennis, volleyball.
Not so much anymore.
No. It's still there. I'm going to talk about it.
It used to do skateboarding too, but that one's gone.
That's
as well.
gone too.
It is gone.
And it contains about 150 parking spaces and a gravel parking lot in the front there. So what we're proposing is the construction of 3 pickleball courts and a viewing area, which is where the volleyball net is, as you can see on the plan there behind me. And so the volleyball court is in this area right here, and you can see the pickleball area is here. This is the paved parking area, and this is paved parking, and this is the current handicap accessibility that Ann was talking about, that we'll be doing some improvements on the project. The site is a not saying normal size, but a regulation size pickleball courts. It's surrounded by 8-foot high fencing in order to, the balls won't go in and out. There's gates on the front and on the rear of it as well, and there's also a larger gate on the right front as you're looking at this drawing for vehicles to go in and out for maintenance purposes, but it's mainly from man gates. That ADA area, which you can see there, so you look at it and it looks fine to me anyways, but the town had a consultant go through and take a look at the ADA facilities for the recreation department, and they found that this is slightly out of code as far as slopes go. So one of the things that will be done, or we're proposing on this plan, is the reconstruction of it in order to bring it into compliance with the current ADA regulations. In the back there, in the back corner of it, which is this area here, so that area is currently a gravel driveway that goes down to the back, which I guess washes out fairly often. And what we're proposing in that area, it's about 300 feet of paving in that, and we'll be making it 10 feet wide, and then at the end of it, we're going to widen it out. We put a handicap accessible space at the bottom there, and you'll be able to pull in, pull out, and then drive back out in that area as well. We also show down at the bottom there some fencing in order to protect in case a vehicle decides to come down. There's some protection there because the soccer fields are right along the edge as well. There's also on the right side, as you look at it coming down around that curve, you can see on the plan we have some railing there as well in order to, because we're going to be pitching the road to the right, and and then we're going to be we're super elevating it to the right, so we want to make sure that that area is protected, because there's quite a drop off there at that point, because that's currently one of the 2 detention basins that service the entire facility. Originally, we asked for 2 waivers from the board, which we've since withdrawn. One of them was a traffic report. We have filed a traffic report. We had Gill and Associates do one for it. If you've taken a look at it, you can see that the site, the 80 average daily trips on Pond Street, excuse me, in the front here is about 10,500 trips per day. The traffic gurus, I know I should know, the AASHTO people don't currently have pickleball generation statistics for it, but what Jack has said in his report is they'll use a very conservative number of 24 cars per hour per court. Yes, 24 hours per hour per court, which is very conservative, because a pickleball court is, as I understand it, is a maximum of 8 people playing at one time. So even if everybody shows up at once, it would be kind of odd, but.
It's 4 people.
Yeah, it's 4 and 4, right? Can you play 4 and 4? 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
So I was just watching my wife play once.
Unless there's something I don't.
They
Maybe.
rotate people in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So it could be 8 people.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, so really it's, and Jack came up with the numbers, it's almost unmeasurable traffic impact. As I stated, there'd be no change in the number of parking spaces. We're not changing the access to the existing parking lot. There's no water, no change to the water system. I'm not even sure there is one. There's no sewer, no other utilities there. We are putting drainage in order to service the 2 additional areas of impervious, and they're both underground drain systems. One is up near the new pickleball court, it's underground chambers, and then there's one down at the bottom there as well, it's underground chambers. Some of the things we've designed this over the winter, tough winter, so one of the things we haven't done yet is soil testing down there. We're trying to coordinate that with the DPW, but we do have a huge amount of data from when the original facility was built, and we included that in our analysis and in our reports. So, and the soils there are really good, and the water table's pretty deep. So I think when we do our actual permeability testing, and I'm fairly confident that, if anything, we'll be conservative for it.
Do you know where on the property those testings were performed?
Yeah, all over. It's all over the property, the drainage basin, and we included that in our report as well. There was, it's just all over the property, because it consists of two drainage basins, one over here on the northeast side, one over on the west side, and then there were leaching pits throughout the site, over here near the tennis courts, and then over by that, I think it's a baseball field to the right as you're looking at it from Pond Street. And I think I'll stop right there.
I would like just to address the location of the pickleball court. So we looked at several areas in town before we arrived at this location. One of the things that our facilities, they're of an age that they lack ADA accessibility. And now, I think if someone was to design a recreation facility, they would put courts closer to a parking area. Courts are the most accessible ADA recreation event. So we felt that it was very important to have immediate accessibility. There's no grass is not ADA accessible. We didn't want people to be dealing with gravel. We wanted something close. We looked at several places in town, and there was a reason at every location not to use that location. But this particular facility, the volleyball court, at one time, 15 years ago, was used fairly regularly. Rice Fields in Rentham has a volleyball court. That is now used by the high school, so they're not using that facility as much. And that volleyball court was actually built because the original volleyball court was installed in 1999. It was a sand volleyball court, but it had a curb, a concrete curb around the whole thing, same color. And I refused to open it. It was just not a safe setup. So at that time, that's when we put the skate park in, and that lived a very long life. It was about 19 years, and then the equipment just finally died a slow death. But that's why we chose this location for the pickleball court. And as far as the parking down below, some of you are probably very familiar with the facility and have attempted to go down to the back field. It's very hard to get to. That's a field that is not a full-size soccer field. It's a great field because it's divided up into smaller fields, but that means smaller kids are playing there. It's very hard for grandparents to get to those fields. It's very hard. I mean, you have to like cut through another field, scooch by the tennis courts and go down a hill like this. So this will give accessibility.
The other, I should have mentioned this, the other item we asked for was we'll be adding lighting on this facility, and we've included in our report, we only got that recently, but it was the lighting. We've done a photometric plan. We've asked them to give you all the details of it. And if you look at the photometric plan, Betsy can put it up if you want to take a look at it. It doesn't shine probably 20 feet beyond the area where they'll be playing pickleball.
Will it be on a timer, or motion activated, or?
So it's on it's adjustable. We can adjust it at any time, and it can be on a lever. Someone can push a button and it can come on for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever we decide, and then it will automatically go off, and it cannot go on past a certain point.
Okay.
So, and that can be controlled remotely. And so it's not on constantly. It doesn't automatically come on and just stay on for 4 hours.
That's good.
Are all the pathways intended to be ADA compliant at some point?
Yes.
That gray pathway, does it have different ADA requirements? There are no plateaus or landings when someone's going up an incline?
That's correct.
Because it's external, it doesn't require that?
There's a certain standard we have to comply with. So what we're proposing is dense graded crushed stone. It's less than a 2% grade. It's flush with the, for example, it's flush with the tennis courts. It'd be flush with the pickleball court.
Okay. It's just not required. Someone can go the full distance without relaxing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we got Stephen Lee from Beta on the phone. Do you want to go through your report?
Yes, hi, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Yes, so we reviewed the stormwater report and site plans, and there wasn't too much that jumped out. Very standard comments for a first round of comments. Let me try to find, let's see, asking for information about seed mix and, tree planting, and then stormwater. So, the stormwater report, we asked to include a pre-development and post-development watershed plan to make the HydroCAD a little easier to read. How the calculations were done, making sure that the pre and the post-development flows and volumes are all reduced. They had addressed the I know that they haven't had a chance to do the on-site soil testing, but I've been informed by Rich and now by that is going to be occurring. There was a comment about providing at the lower basin, and I was unaware, I didn't know that this project was going to be phased when I was reviewing it, so this is something that's, if it's part of phase 2, isn't a super urgent thing, but it was the idea of the tree box filter at the bottom goes into the infiltration basin, and there's no emergency overflow for that, so I was imagining, I know it's really good material and there's no water table issues, just on the off chance that it were to fail, the water would get backed up and it would come out of the tree box filter. So I had recommended either a graded structure or they have these contraptions that allow the water to alleviate. It's a pop-up emitter, something like that, just to provide an emergency overflow when it does get built. And some other stormwater comments from the regulations. Providing a drain, manhole and grate on each end of the infiltration, of the subsurface infiltration system to make sure it can be maintained. And yeah, that's pretty much, there are a couple smaller items, just how calculations were done, but that's the gist of it. Excuse me. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board around the beta peer review? All right, any concerns with any of the comments from beta?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All right, reviewing the design, any concerns with what we have proposed in front of us?
Not with the design, but there are a few stormwater items that have not been addressed yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna pend a decision based on that getting rectified for sure.
Yeah.
Any questions from the audience, online or in person? All right, and so I guess we're gonna pen some updates based on Beta's comments and look to see you at our May 12th meeting. Is that enough time or do you need more time?
When can we get into dig test pits? That's what
You
we're
want-
waiting on. So
We'll get the test bits done.
Between now and May, do you think?
I think May 12th will be fine.
We'll get them done.
Okay.
And
If
if
not,
not-
we can always continue it
Right.
further. Okay?
think
All
we
right,
can-
so for now, we'll put you on the agenda for May 12th at 7:30. All right, so looking for a motion to continue the 33 Pond Street Recreation Complex site plan approval to May 12th at 7:30 PM.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Stay cool.
745, 224 Dedham Street, signed special permits.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with Mass General Law, Section 40A, and the Norfolk zoning bylaw, Section 310, 6.9.a, subsection 19, that a public hearing will be held on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 7:45 PM in room 124, Norfolk Town Hall, 1 Liberty Lane, Norfolk, Massachusetts, relative to a special permit application for property located at 224 Dedham Street. The applicant, George Matta of Plainville, Massachusetts, is requesting a special permit to allow the installation of a new freestanding sign larger than 12 square feet per side. The property is located in the C1 zoning district, reference Assessors Map 19, Block 69, Lot 24. The application and plans are available for public inspection on the Town of Norfolk website or in the office of the Norfolk Planning Board during the hours of 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Mata, how are you?
Good evening. So my name is George Matta. I'm the property owner and manager at 224 Dedham Street. We're seeking the special permit to replace the existing sign structure. Currently, the one that we have was recently damaged by a windstorm. So this was a part of a plan to replace the existing sign because it's damaged beyond repair. The current sign that we do have is currently non-conforming. However, it's because the signage exceeds the limits of the bylaws, and this is for the sole reason that it's a multi-tenant property. So each business has its own sign, and collectively they exceed the signage allowance in the bylaws. So what we're looking to do is propose to replace the sign structure with something structurally sound, more modern. Overall, it'll be a reduction in height compared to what exists today, and scale compared to what exists today to be closer to the regulations. So we'd like to continue the support from multiple tenants. You can see in the specs listed, those are the different tenants, and each one is going to maintain that 12 square feet signage limit. So they'll all be under that guideline.
Awesome. And then it looks like we have some small LED downlighting from the top.
That's correct. Nothing will be facing street side or any cars driving by. It'll all be protected within the panels and facing downward.
Do you already have electrical at that location or no?
Yes, there is currently electrical being supplied to the poles.
Awesome. Any other questions from the board?
No, I'm glad there's lighting, so we
Yeah.
can see the names of them when we're
100%.
driving by.
And that's a much better looking sign than what was previously there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Any questions from the audience, online or in person? All right, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve the signed special permit for 224 Dedham Street.
So move.
All those in favor? I mean, second.
Second.
I got my second here. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, that brings us to 8 p.m., public hearing to discuss the proposed zoning bylaw amendments for the 5/13/26 annual town meeting, continued from 3/25/26.
That's right. So,
You got us now.
that's now, yeah. Well, I'll probably lead off with just, I know there's some questions about the intent and purpose, so we want to just probably touch on those.
However you want to play it, Rich.
All right.
You are the puppet master.
Thanks. Well, again, just a recap from the previous public hearing. The intent and purpose of the change to the open space preservation bylaw is to allow for an alternative pathway for single-family development in the town of Norfolk beyond 40B developments. We have not had a subdivision, whether it be open space or conventional, but open space primarily since 8 years ago, 9 years ago now.
And before you continue, like, what have we seen with those open spaces? Have we seen them used? Have we seen, like, them maintained appropriately? Like,
In terms of the previous subdivision that were open space?
yeah, the ones that are available. Like, I have one at the end of Frederickson Road. Nobody would even be able to tell that it was there.
No. So a good chunk of the ones that have been approved thus far in town are really just preservation of woodland areas and keeping it in its natural state. There hasn't been, although I would say where Melissa lives, that's one that is more of an, open space that's utilized beyond just preservation, which is
Yeah,
Fox Run.
that one actually is. So there's a horse farm right behind my house, and then there's this huge grassy area that the kids call the meadow,
Nice.
where they go and have picnics, or they used to when they were little. But yeah, and then neighbors, we actually purposely didn't put, my neighbor and I didn't put our fences together so we could still have the snow hill there for the kids and stuff. So yeah, and then the horses walk around there as well. So that's one that is actually used.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then we had the one by Mr. Riley's house.
Yeah, so the
That one
one,
kinda went
so
south as
Norway
well.
Farms, yep. I mean, that essentially became one that was really just to kind of conserve the development footprint and then preserve along Crystal Pond, I think it's called, right? Crystal Pond, and buffering. That, again, just more of a reduce the development footprint overall as opposed to having, lots that are fully, in terms of the underlying zoning that could be, except, if there's wetland resource area is one thing, but, in terms of removal of trees and so forth. But That's been the lion's share, the ones that really been more from a preservation of woodland, a lesser development footprint than coming up with,
It feels good to hear that. It feels like we're being more honest about what it is that we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, no, there's not, yes, it's really more of a reducing a developed footprint. Now, obviously, you will say that the way this is structured, it's a development increase in terms of you compare it from what the bylaw is today, because there's only a 10% bonus for an open space development. The reduction that I'm talking about potential would be from if somebody to go outside, which would be a 40B development, which would be a larger footprint.
It's trying to provide a stepping stone before someone feels the need to have to go 40B.
To have to go 40B. It would be applicable to the R1, R2, R3, so all the residential zoning districts, but it's not as if we're by this bylaw saying we're going to automatically increase density in all those different districts. There has to be a development associated with it. So it's really trying to balance it from an economic standpoint to discourage that 40B development in those outlying areas. Primarily really the residential 2 and 3. Those are the districts that we've seen. It's not to say you couldn't see one in the R1, but those districts. It's not a holistic approach. It's just another tool to see if there's another pathway for development, more responsible development, I guess you'd say, less impactful. But that's the general purpose of it, and to make it a little bit more flexible in terms of design-wise, the lot size in terms of each home lot could go down to 15,000 square feet, which is what the original lot sizes were back in 1953. So we're back in time, so to speak.
Now, is that consistent with some of the bordering neighborhoods in other towns as well?
Somewhere around that. So right now we have a half acre, but there depends upon the district size for those towns, but it's not necessarily out of bounds. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get down to 15 per each lot, because usually you'd end up having some excess land. So, but also give them flexibility in the setbacks to kind of place homes because thinking about this is a planned development, right? So when they come in, you kind of create some flexibility of where that home may be located to the home next to it in terms of setbacks. So that's really a nutshell what the intent. I can't guarantee you this is going to work. But
The frontage requirements, I noticed like one of them in the document was 50, you crossed it out, now it's 75, and I'm just curious why the frontage changed.
to make it consistent and uniform, so there's an average that you can comply to keep simple math, basically, consistent. Because there's the way the bylaw is, you can have an average frontage. I quite honestly we haven't seen too many in that regard. Again, there's if you look at provision. Go to section F in the intensity requirements in the bylaw. There's a provision where there's a minimum average dimensional requirement, minimum average frontage of all lots in open space development, and it's 100 feet. So it was really more of an attempt to create more flexibility. I'm not.
Because what I was imagining, right, is if I have a lot of lots and now there's more frontage, so meaning like side to side, right? When you're looking at the house, the whole in front of the house and each side, if you require that to be larger, yet the lot is going to be smaller overall, which is how you would get this density bonus, then you'd have, and we have the setbacks for the front yard as well. So what you'll basically have is a house that's set back on a lot that's wide. So you'll have 2 side yards, a nice front yard, and no backyard. So that's just a logistical concern, just, I think people still want backyards. I don't have data, but I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, but I thought we made the front setback smaller.
The front setback is, what's the front setback? So 20 to the open space, 20 to the open space, size 20. Where's the front? I'm looking for what's the frontage?
Minimum setback from any boundary space is 25 feet.
Yeah, where's the?
So you don't have an actual setback for frontage called out for the
Front yard setback?
Right, you don't have a front yard setback called out. So by doing so, you've made it 25 feet. So 25 feet from the side of the street to the front of the house. So theoretically, you could have a big backyard.
Where do you see that?
It's FC1.
FC1, no. So that's from any boundary line of the open space preservation development. So that's like
Oh,
I
sorry.
had to put
It's 20 feet for the.
for the front,
Yeah.
based on, is it in here, or is it just, you just know that?
It's in 3?
You have 3, but that's setback requirements from all dwellings must be separated by each other from
By
at least
20 feet.
So from a public way with an open space preservation development, 20 feet? See, and then, C3?
This here.
No, up here. Right there.
From a public way within the open space, 20 feet.
Okay, so the house could actually be, because it doesn't say from a public way, but all throughout the rest of our bylaws, I think we say front setback.
Yeah, we actually, I think it would not be out of bounds to clarify that, if that's.
No, I think that's a
clear.
good call out. You're not being specific enough.
But I do have some other
No.
potential concerns. Potential. There's 2 documents that are in the share that I uploaded.
Oh, okay.
You can, all right, so Word document first. I'll show you something.
This one? Actually, Betsy should probably,
Oh,
because
yeah,
that way
'cause
she
Betsy's
can,
sharing.
yeah.
So yes, the one that says zoning comparison, residential open space. And I'll
Yep.
just show you the numbers that I was playing around with.
Oh, is this the Excel sheet here?
So the Excel one is second. So I started in the Word document going through some scenarios with comparing the new open space to what a traditional development looks like.
No.
To see what the comparison was. And then I went from there to open space versus 40B, which I
Zoning
think was the
comparison,
overall kind of objective that Rich was going for.
Okay.
But then I needed to do math. And so then I went over to Excel because that's way easier.
Yeah. So if you do, what if you just need to
What is the
refresh?
first one called, Melissa?
I think it's ours.
What's the first
I
one?
wasn't sure what it was.
It's a Google Doc. It is
The zoning
Yeah.
comparison residential open
zoning
space.
comparison, that one.
We'll get it open.
Hope you don't have to change your password right now, Betsy.
Oh my God.
Don't joke about that. That was my
It happens so often. I get it. We're very secure.
Be nice if I could
weird. Just go
even
to my
remember my
code.
passwords.
Change your password. You can't use the same ones. It's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now everybody knows the password.
Oh, hold on.
Very
We have
secure.
Two-step verification.
That's the world today. Want to go with the Word doc first, though?
Yeah, I'll just quickly, so I can show you.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. You can just scroll down, Betsy, into the first table. That was just, I was just noting what we were trying to do there. Okay, so the rezoning effort, R1, R2, R3. So the first thing I did was go in and say, okay, for the R1 currently, you can have 30,000 square feet, which is 0.68 acres. With a 20% density bonus, that brings it down to 24,000, which is 0.55 acres. So I just went through so that I had that math. And then I scrolled down. You can scroll down. That's the. So then I just wanted to see what does it look like now with a traditional subdivision versus open space. So with open space, and I think, what did I put there? 6 acres, just as a random number. But when I compare traditional versus open space with the proposed tiered density, this is what it looks like in the R1, R2, and R3. This isn't 40B, this is just traditional, right? So with an open space subdivision, the developer, if we look at it from that perspective, they lose 25% of their land off the bat, right? So now we're down to 4.5 acres. And then when you add the density bonus to R1, R2, and R3, that's the comparison that you get for the number of units that you could have in each one, right? So it looks like it's slightly better, except in the R1, to have an open space subdivision. R2, R3, it looks like, that would be slightly better. And then if you scroll down, and then here I just said, okay, let me just try 10 acres and what that looks like. So here, again, you lose the 25% of all your available space of your lot. So it goes down to 7.5 acres developable. So then R1, R2, R3, using that same math, how many units can you have using the density bonuses plus the loss of 25%? Is everybody following? I know it's late. Okay. So again, slightly better when you're comparing traditional subdivision to open space. So those two, I think, if we did this, if anybody wanted to do a traditional, maybe they'd be like, oh, I'll do, an open space because it actually is slightly better for them financially. And then when you get to 40B, now if you want, Betsy, you can just go to that spreadsheet because I did a bunch of different scenarios, but I needed to calculate, and it was easier using Excel. So I'll show you that other document.
I think it's this one. Yep. Oh,
Yep.
this one?
Yep. So this is super, super high level. I'm not a 40B developer. I've never developed an open space subdivision, but using standard numbers, right? So right now we know that we've seen 40Bs with 100 units. We've seen them with 50 units. With 40B, for anybody that doesn't know 40B, there's really no limit as far as density goes. It's just what you can build on that property, how many units you can kind of cram in there that the state allows you to do and bypass our zoning bylaws. So if you look at the 40B, right, so say there's 100, and then if you look at an open space subdivision by comparison, it's significantly less units, right? But typically the single-family homes in Norfolk sell for a lot more than something that's comparable to a townhouse, right? Even though the townhouses are fairly pricey here too. But if you compare all of that and look at the price per unit, and I just used $700,000 for selling a 40B unit based on what I've seen around here. 1.3 million would be, a typical colonial around here right now. And then if you just look at, say, 20% profit, which I don't know if I know that's the average in certain cases, but the numbers vary greatly based on a number of factors. So I just used 20 for both of them to be consistent. And I don't think making $3 million versus 10.5 million, like that, there's no comparison. They're still going to choose 40B.
Well, I mean, the comparison is in the cost of building and the labor that you have.
That's what I mean. We don't have those numbers to know the
but
exact.
You need those numbers in order to make this a fair comparison.
So that fair comparison is based on the average profit that is public knowledge that you can find anywhere if you look up any construction website for Massachusetts. So that's why I use the 20. It's actually usually less. I just don't know the differential between open space and a 40B.
So
if that 20 is really 15 for one versus the other.
So the 40B So on the top of the spreadsheet, that's the 700,000? Is that market rate, 700,000?
Yeah, so I mean, we could change that to be whatever, but some of the like townhouse style homes around here have been selling for 700, 800. Some of them are more than that now, but you just never know.
So that housing type you can't do. The townhouse, only through 40B.
Right, so the townhouses, though, if you were to do individual homes, like they have a development like this and rent them, it still basically looks like a townhouse, but there's space in between them. You know, so it's not like you don't actually get that much more money for them. You just get no HOA fee, which is nice.
Is this, so if I'm looking at the 10-acre lot example, it's not gonna cut the gap, but the 25 units, you wouldn't be able to sell at $700,000, so that's an effective loss that would have to be
Correct.
taken out.
Yeah, so in that math, so I basically took out the profit for all of those. So all those 25 units, I took out all the profit. This is like super, super high level.
Yeah.
And the same for that one unit for the open space subdivision.
Okay.
And both examples are 10-acre lot, and then one is 100 units, one's 50, because I just wanted to see how it, you know, if it changed exponentially. But this is what I mean, like, we need to know from the people that actually own the property. Every developer's, there's similarities, but, you know, maybe somebody has economies of scale and somebody else doesn't. Maybe they have, you know, there's so many variables.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you need a ton of startup capital to be able to build a project that's 100 units.
Well, and another one of the variables is assuming a 10-acre lot, right? There's not many 10-acre lots left in town that are just
Right.
ready to go edge to edge.
Right.
So this gives the ability to say, I'm going to reconfigure the space so the conservation piece is in the spots that are going to be expensive or impossible for me to develop in.
yeah, I think that's just it. If we knew the lots that are, you know, at risk potentially, I would say, I think
Yeah.
a lot of people in town would agree, then we could actually put in specific information. And then if there's, you know, if we do have developers obviously in town that are looking at 40Bs, so just working, they have everybody has their P&L. It's just swapping out numbers.
So the top line, the 40B, no density limit, the affordables are, where's the price per unit though? Like, is that?
So price per unit is over in column G for both of them, and I just use whatever numbers just to show. It's approximately that for both houses.
But you're doing half the work, making half the money. Am I reading it wrong? Do twice the work, you make twice the money. Twice
So
the work's
the-
40B, right?
So the 40B,
Isn't it?
If that cost model is correct, I mean, I don't know if
No,
it's,
but I'm just saying you do half the work, you're making half the money. I'm trying to understand what's wrong with that.
yeah.
And don't you have to, isn't the pathway to kicking off 40B development much longer than to just start, you know, like an open space project in town?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to get
You have to get the approval, do that whole
So-
packet.
Yeah, but it seems like the money's equivalent.
And that's the thing, I don't think
for
we know.
less effort.
Yeah.
Right, so it feels like this is more of a way to sell it.
Yeah. It's not that you're making less money doing half the work and you got an easier path to the finish line. I don't know, that's what I'm seeing. Am I wrong?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know that it's half. If you're gonna do one apartment building, right?
You're only building 50 units.
But if you're doing 50 units and it's gonna be something like what Pulte is recommending or proposing, right, which.
2 buildings, so you'd only build 1. No.
Sure.
I'm joking.
So like, but one building like that,
Yeah.
and then versus a bunch of different individual houses.
Yeah.
You know, now you're bringing your plumber into every single one. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends what kind of developer they are, and that's why I was saying I don't know that we can really say that this would solve that problem without actually talking to developers. This is like back of the napkin math.
so I have talked to developers, but I do want to stay pretty focused on this is just single family homes.
Right.
That's
Sure.
it. So we can't, you know.
Oh, okay, so
you
you're
know what I
saying
mean?
the 40B
So
would
like
be one
Pulte,
building.
whatever, that's condo, that's over there. The townhouses are over there. This is just strictly straight up single family home.
So open space is, right? And if you're comparing it with a traditional subdivision, that's true. But when you have the opportunity, if you're a developer and you're like, I could do all these individual houses and also lose 25% of my land or build a 40B, those two comparisons could exist.
The only thing I'm kind of wondering, so the cost of the affordable units is really like in the $350,000 range.
So I took out just to make it simple, I took out the profitability for every single one of those affordable units.
Okay. So on the revenue side, it's based on like 300,000 for the affordable, call it 3.25 to get to the.
It's really, what I was trying to find was the profit, and so I took I don't know what the profit is on those, if it's 10 grand, if it's 100 grand, it depends. So I just took out all the profitability for the 25, the 1, the 13, and
You
the
just
1.
did 75 times 700.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just to make it simple and take those ones out of the calculation completely.
So the one, granted, I would tell you it's only one so far, but 2 cases. So one, doesn't seem like it may not go that way, but so the one model was, well, the one looking at was Pond Meadow, which it's got the project eligibility letter before I talked to you last month about this, and they're apply for the butters list, and they're looking to file by the end of the month.
Which project is
Which is the 84 units on 373 Main Street.
Oh, yeah. The impossible one.
Yeah, the one that probably can't move forward.
One entry in, one entry out.
Yeah, okay.
So they're.
Good luck.
Right.
You said you wanted the trailer that's on the property, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to reclaim that trailer.
So they're coming in. Yeah, I there's a lot of questionable things about that development, but I don't know what'll come. Obviously, will come out of it. Something. They have some kind of strategy, I suppose. I don't know what it is yet.
Right, but we don't know, right? So I think that's the same thing I was saying last time.
Yeah.
Same thing I'm
Now
saying
the other
this
one
time.
is Cranberry Heights, which was before the board before, and obviously we drew without prejudice, right? So drew with prejudice, sorry.
Right.
So it was 22 units as an open space. So looking at that, it was speaking to him about what number would need to get to change it to be a non-40B development. So that's really that's tangible that I, at least I could say, like, working with a local developer who doesn't do 40B. He has a partner on that one, but traditionally he doesn't do 40B developments. He does, so he's did the one on Park Street that's just over the Norfolk town line there, which is near you, actually.
What is it?
The one that's, I don't know what the name of it is, but if you're heading towards Rentham Center, it's on the right-hand side.
Oh, the
Bush Barnes?
Yeah, no, the
Oh, the one across from Target?
No. We're
this
talking
is
about,
across
we're on
from-
Park Street now.
on Park Street. Yeah.
Yeah, is that the
It's
name of it?
the-
It might be Park
Maybe
Place.
Park Place?
Yeah, it's the Park Place.
It's
It's the our senator lives there.
Rep?
Is it
Directly
Symphony
across
Park?
from us? Directly across from us?
Oh, Mill Pond?
Yeah,
That's
Mill
a-
Pond, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
How is that?
That's
what are we-
conservation. That's
No, I'm talking about, that's the developer, though. I'm talking about the developer that we spoke with.
Oh, okay.
He did that development in Rentham, near you, but he has other subdivisions that he's done in Rentham. He's not, his development model is non-40B, but when it came to Cranberry Heights, he had a partner, a previous partner. They're not partners anymore. He brought another partner in. That project eligibility letter is for the 51 units that are there. We had spoken to him, like, he's potentially interested to get out of doing a 40B and doing a open space subdivision, but the numbers are
Yeah.
the numbers. So that's where, granted, I know it's one example, but
I know, that's what's so tough, right? Is that if we're changing the bylaws for the entire town, it can't be based on one developer.
I totally get it. I mean, you could do performers on a bunch of different properties to kind of come up with to do it, which.
But I mean, at the same time, we targeted a good portion of the zoning We don't have to hit all of those
So
residential
the key,
zones.
I think the key, one key point though is we're not changing the zoning, right? So
No, this is almost like an overlay.
it really effectively, it's the underlying district, right? So it's 30, 43, and 55. You come in like you do now in a traditional open space. You come in, present that yield plan, you gotta make the math work on that underlying zoning, which is, the 200 feet of frontage, if it's R2 and 3, 43,560, the shape and everything, and if you're sitting here today, they would come in, show you this is a yield plan, and you would look at it and say, all right, that lot complies with the zoning, so all right, that's a lot that meets the underlying zoning. And then after that would be the open space, would then be the layout, which would be the smaller lots with a bump in density. That's how it would work. So that yield, the yield is going to be based on the property itself in terms of the shape of it, wetlands, no wetlands, so forth, and then the underlying zoning. So that's really as opposed to like wholesale saying like we're gonna.
Town meetings, what, May 13th?
May 3rd, no, May 14th.
May 14th.
Yeah.
So you need a decision tonight.
Not necessarily.
I don't want to meet with you again this month.
I wasn't saying this month. You do meet the night before town meeting. 2 nights before. And as it stands, the advisory board knows that you haven't made a decision on this yet.
Yeah.
So they have no recommendation. Although the one caveat is the meeting on the 11th of May. But anyway.
Don't do that to me.
I'm not suggesting
It is May 13th, by the way, town meeting. And advisory is not going to like the night before finding out what our decision is. I can't imagine putting
They're already ready for that. Like, yeah, we'll have it.
kind of already are in this particular instance because they have already worked on the recommendations for the warrant. This is not, at least listen to the advisory board meeting the other night.
Yeah.
They're not, if you're not convinced, I understand. I would rather not take a vote on it. If it'd be a negative vote, then
can we do a straw man around the
Can I ask
table?
a couple questions?
sure, yeah.
Can you remind me, Rich, where the percentages are coming from? Why we're choosing this?
They're based on the underlying zoning side. So R1 is 20%. So I'd essentially just incrementally increase the based off the underlying. What's that?
Why?
Because incrementally the lot sizes go up too. So I didn't necessarily.
In the inherent zoning?
Yeah. So R1's 30,000 square feet. That has the lowest amount of frontage.
You respected the ratio.
Right, the ratio. So that's 30,000 square feet, 150 feet of frontage. No difference in frontage in R2 and 3. They're both 200 square feet. I mean, not 200 square feet, sorry. 200 feet of frontage, but the lot size jumps up. So from the... Oh. So it's based on that.
So it steps up in a percentage.
Based on the
Ratio.
underlying zoning district, right, which is R1, 2, 3.
And why are we?
So I can tell you that R3 was the one where the development is, so that was kind of the basis, to go from there. So the largest lot district, which is Cranberry Heights, is the R3. That one was the one to get, and that only gets potentially to high 20s in terms of the overall number of lots. That may, again, this may not be enough actually per se, so this may not make it in terms of those numbers, but that's where.
But we'd rather go small than large all at once, right?
Yeah, but so that's where the numbers come from. I didn't do some ratio calculation, but you could, I suppose. You know what I mean? I think what you're thinking.
Yeah. That's
What
what
were you
I was
thinking?
wondering.
I think he was thinking of ratio.
If they were calculated by ratio.
Yeah.
And then why are we taking out the ability to require larger setbacks than specified if it finds that such increased setbacks are required to promote the purposes of this section?
It was just more flexibility. I mean, we could do, again, you could not take that out too, so.
What does that give flexibility to?
In terms of the lot design and the placement of the houses,
But doesn't us having that ability require that increased flexibility?
it does, but you're talking about the setbacks of where the house is gonna be located, right? So then you could play around with the setbacks, placement of the house on the lot. That's the intent of it. You could keep them the way they are, not necessarily go that next level if there's, depends how you look at this, your opinion of it. But if you look at Wade's Crossing, those home setbacks are in this range in terms of frontages and setbacks to each other where they're placed, and they're marked, well, they're essentially the same size. They can't be differential, but they're not, certainly not tiny houses being built in that development. They're in the 2,800 square feet up to 3,000 square feet range. But you certainly,
Yeah, I mean, I think my concerns are still the same they were when we had the virtual meeting on this. It feels like we're, chasing a problem by increasing density without fully understanding what the overall impact it may have across all of the residential districts in town to maybe stop a 40B project.
Well, I'm not thinking of just one, actually. That's the...
Maybe 2 40B projects.
And it might not even stop them. I mean,
It might not stop.
Yeah, so it might not stop them, and I hear what's being said, but everything's a balance, and in return, we do get open space, right? So that's not a negative, in my opinion. I've thought through a bunch of different ways where this could potentially have unforeseen downstream impacts, and I'm not finding them in a way that is unique to just this, right? It's also with 40B, it's also with regular subdivision development. So I think we've been working towards ways to give development incentives to stay within our bylaws. So, again, we can question if the numbers are correct, but at the same time, the potential negatives are kind of minimal and the positives are there. I don't want to say they massively outweigh potential negatives because we don't know all the information to define the negatives, but it's another piece of the puzzle of keeping developers in our ecosystem for development and also at the same time getting some open space out of it. So I think I'm for this one.
I'm also kind of seeing it as an opportunity for us to get more housing in for first-time homeowners. This is going to be...
That's not really what this will be. If you look at Wade's
don't think
Crossing,
so?
they're $1.3 million houses.
Yeah, it's
just smaller
definitely-
land.
Not for first time. So that's another topic on the agenda, just a little bit further down we could talk about, but that's not what this is about necessarily. The one I understand. So one of the things that did look at is all the chapter lands in the town of Norfolk, and there's still some significant land that is chapter land that at some point potentially can come out. So part of the story in this way is Cranberry Heights. It was chapter land twice. The town passed on it. But I also kind of think the philosophy of open space was if we can't use it, really use it, we're not going to buy it to just keep it as it is today.
Right.
If that kind of philosophy shifted, when those things came, those opportunities arose, that the town was yeah, we're going to buy it because we want to preserve it for wildlife habitat and just reduce it. You know what I mean? There's an approach to kind of buy up, and then when they come forward, I feel a little, more confident, but I don't know if when it comes down, the trust came in and has a property over on Pine Street and Pine Street and Everett Street. 13 acres. The letter, it's chapter land. The letter to the town was, we're exploring 40B. It's a tough piece of property, but when you add that dynamic of, it's just, I totally can appreciate.
Yeah, I guess, and Gary, I appreciate the point on the more open space. That is helpful to think about. Like, you may have a little more, density on the overall lot, but you're getting the open space for it. I just feel like, and I just want to be really transparent, this is not a knock in any way whatsoever, but I feel like in the year I've been on the planning board, the couple times we talk about zoning or we take something to town meeting, like it's all, one thing to potentially stop a 40B or one thing to potentially solve a problem. And I just think that, really having like a holistic set of tools that we think through zoning could give us better local control over housing in the town. I'm all for it, but I just really get concerned about putting another overlay on all of the residential districts in the town without exactly understanding where the percentages are definitely coming from, what the downstream impacts might be. Gary, I appreciate you've thought about that. I can't get my head around it, and I feel like I couldn't go into town meeting and sell why we should do this as Norfolk.
Yeah, no, I totally respect that. I mean,
That is actually what I was thinking as well, is from, we all do our presentations at town meeting, but all the ones that I've done, I really believed in, and this one I'm just not quite there yet. I want to do something. I personally wouldn't care about having a lot as big as I have. I would rather have one smaller, and that's just me. I'm sure other people would prefer not to take care of a big yard too, but it's just for the reason that maybe this could prevent a couple of 40Bs. I feel like we do need to look at it more holistically. I don't think that I could confidently stand up at town meeting and say, I wholeheartedly agree, this is, the due diligence is done. I just don't think it is.
So then what if Rich came in and said it was so that people could have smaller lots?
And I'd still want to do more research.
What do you mean by that?
Just like she said, she wishes she had less to maintain.
Yeah. So that's why we're doing it, so that people have less grass to mow.
I'm curious if it's all just about the branding. I mean, you're concerned we're playing whack-a-mole with 40B. It's a hammer looking for a problem, right? Like, we use 40B a lot, granted, but it's partially because, one, it's true. It's a constant thing that we have to deal with because we're in a space where we're not allowed to kind of say no to those, right? We're not in a situation we can say no. And we have to come up with some creative solutions in order to do this. Does this mean that this is the only way that you can develop those lots? No, it's just another way that you can develop those lots, right? Additionally, like, it does meet the need for those folks who don't want a larger lot of land, who have a desire for a shorter driveway, a shorter walk from the street curb to their front door, right? Like, it does provide opportunities for that.
But is that a problem that we're trying to solve? I think that's the whole thing, is like...
But that's not us to decide, right? Our job as the board is to provide options to developers so that they can do what they want to do, what's profitable for them from that perspective. That's our job at the end of the day. We shouldn't be sitting here thinking about all of the different, ways that they're going to go ahead and make money. What our job is to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward to ensure that the town that we're making these changes in is where we want our kids to grow up 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. And I don't see how this being an option for a developer is going to make this town worse for my kids to live in versus having multiple 40Bs come in when a developer could have been, like, to Gary's point, lazy, not want to have to go through the jurisdiction requirements and the government requirements of submitting an eligibility letter and having to jump through all of those hoops when they can make an easy $3 million just by doing less work.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't view our job as figuring out ways for developers to come in and build on all of the lots in town. I view our job as looking at all of the development holistically, understanding and facilitating what should be developed, what should be open space, what should be kept untouched. I think there's a holistic view to it, not necessarily just how do we facilitate this developer's work in the way that's going to maximize their profit. That's not 40B.
Sure.
Well, it's ignoring the fact that developers are going to develop, right? Like, that's the piece that you have to remember as well. And we need to provide the guardrails by which they can do that.
Right, but then if you're saying developers are going to develop, then you have to look at it from a developer's perspective, which is it could be that maybe 40B is not in their wheelhouse, but really, let's be honest, it comes down to, it's a business, right? So if we ignore how they're going to make money, then we're not actually going to we're motivating the behavior with our zoning.
I don't see how we're motivating the behavior with this.
With this, we're not. That's my
Right.
point.
So that sounds like a positive for this.
No, it's not. It's that this is yet another whack-a-mole, I think, right? Like, I think it's reactive. We're trying to, just like we did with extending the overlay district for MBTA to avoid a 40B, we're constantly working reactively.
Well, that wasn't reactive. We had
But
to
that
do
was
that.
also surgical. That wasn't over the whole residential zoning
No, it
across
was
the whole town.
it was for a developer to avoid a 40B. That was literally
It
why.
was also a state requirement,
What was?
the MBTA overlay.
No,
wasn't it?
no,
Didn't we have to
we-
do that for funding?
Of course, we had to do it.
No, but you
We didn't
increased
have
it
to do
for
it for
that
funding.
one.
We had to do it. We had to come up with a plan and then let
The
the
overlay
town
district
decide.
was-
The overlay district, yes, but then we went back again and said we want to extend this
Oh,
overlay district
right.
to avoid
Yes,
a 40B,
yes,
right?
yes.
Whereas I think if we looked at, like when I do plans holistically, like in this case, I would look at the entire town, right? And look at like what properties do we have and, you know, which ones could we actually save if they came up for first right of refusal? And what areas do we want to develop in? And what do we want that density to look like? Because when we make decisions like this, where we're just doing it as like whack-a-mole, I think this is how a lot of people in Norfolk will say, I don't want to be Franklin, right? And Franklin grew very fast.
Right.
Right? I feel like that's what happens if you don't look at it holistically and you just make one tiny decision at a time.
Which is what we're afforded based on, one, the fact that we're a board of volunteers, two, the fact that we meet pretty much on a monthly basis, and three, that the continuity on the board up until now has been, you know, not very consistent, to be honest.
But we're
right?
still not looking at the town holistically.
We're not. Those are the reasons why, is what I'm trying to argue. right? Like,
Can't both
how do
things
we-
be true? Can't we make decisions based off of what we're seeing right now? And again, this is probably a good challenge for us as a board. Come up with the
proactive
to a little bit of defense. We do have the master plan. We try to line everything with the master
Sure.
plan, so we're not out of bounds here with this or anything that we've done so far. But you know, to Dan's bigger point, like should we have a mission statement for, like, what is our 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal for planning outlook or potential zoning change outlook? Like, what is the long-term vision and plan that this board, whichever the membership is going to drive to achieve for the town? Like, this doesn't, in my opinion, this does not take away from that, but we shouldn't ignore that bigger holistic picture.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree. And it's a balance of looking at what comes in front of us from a regular, you know, keep the lights on perspective of what our responsibilities are to the town. And then with regards to proactive planning, right? Like, we've got objectively 12 meetings a year with a couple sprinkled in here and there when we have to spend a little additional time. How do we make the best of those 12 meetings a year? How do we actually build a plan in order to, you know, identify that? That would be in addition to the master plan. And so, to your point, yes, you know, it makes sense. That's a great thing for us to investigate. I don't know how we're going to, you know, look to attack that at this point in time. I guess my request is, how do we circle back to this decision now, and how do we move forward? Is this something that we want to entertain for the town meeting on the 13th, or is this something that we want to IP for now?
I already said I'd vote yes. I don't want to discount the need for, and if we want a subcommittee, I'm more than happy to join it. You know, the bigger picture stuff, which we can definitely get better at, to Dan's point and Melissa's point. But unless somebody has an actual negative for this, I think I would vote yes.
I guess I don't think it's solving the problem that it was intended to solve, or I don't have proof that it is or that it will, and so I don't know why we're going to take up time at town meeting to ask for yet another zoning change that we don't know will solve the problem, so that we can then come back to them again with a revision, which we already have to do for things that have already been done, which was market conditions. That's not, you know, but I would prefer to do that the least amount of times possible.
So I guess, how do we define what it is that needs to be done before we feel comfortable?
For me, it's the same thing that I said before, is I think, look at the land that could be developed, work with the developers that we already know, that already come in here to meet with us, or come to give us, like, conceptual plans. Rich has the relationships with them, work with them, or, I will, if, I don't have any financial interest in their businesses, they're not my family members, it's not a conflict of any kind. I'd be happy to do it too. I just think this is not enough detail. Like, what I put together is not enough detail. I don't think it solves a problem from what I've seen. So I don't know why we're going to spend our time not solving a problem when we have lots of problems we could solve.
Okay. Dan, any final comments?
No, I think the only thing I'd say is, a lot of the objection I have, I could live with. I just still can't get fully comfortable with ruling out any downstream impacts. That's kind of what
Unintended consequence type things.
Yep. Well, so my opinion, which I haven't provided yet, I don't feel like this is defensible either way, right? Like, I feel like I see the good. I see the fact that we are trying to put not necessarily an obstacle or a hurdle in front of 40Bs, but we're providing another option, another fork in the road, so be it, for developers to proceed in a way that we are comfortable with. That's what I see this as. I see this as a paved path to allow us to get something that does benefit us in a couple of different ways, but I don't know how to communicate to the town the net benefit, and I don't know how to argue out the possible ramifications that we don't understand at this point in time.
Right.
So I would move that we IP this for the time being until we all feel comfortable moving it forward. I as well could go either way on it. I'm more on the positive side because a path,
agreed.
A path of, a paved path is more comfortable for me, right? And I don't see the negative. But the fact that I don't see the negative is also somewhat uncomfortable.
Yeah, understood, yeah.
What do you think, Gary?
I think it's a path with a gate, and the gate is a special permit, and I don't think it's a permanent change, and I think you're in total control of it. If something went wrong, you just disable it, so.
And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think we can communicate that, but I think the counter argument is, then why do we do this? What's the point?
To have a potential tool to convince some developers on some parcels to go to open space. So I don't see anything negative to it at all.
I think it's, I think you make all valid, they're all valid points. I think if, there's two other topics on tonight's agenda which are related to it, somewhat, right, in terms of the big picture. So I think it makes sense to IP, or, work on it some more, get some other, or at least flush it out.
Can we just appreciate for a second that this is the Garys versus everybody else, right? I was gonna say the Garys get one vote collectively.
Well, hold on.
Or that we can have
Well, it sounds like there's,
disagreements
it doesn't sound,
respectfully.
well, all right, I don't want to jump in, but.
I just wanted to make the joke, so.
I appreciate
What's
it.
your middle name, Chris?
It's not Gary, unfortunately. I'm curious to hear what you want to say, but since it's not related to the public hearing completely, we should probably close this or possibly continue it to another meeting later on in this month so that we can finally make a final decision on this based on what we hear from you after this.
Have we asked for any public comment yet?
Not yet. Good call.
I mean, now you're in, well, you're up until May now, so I don't know if we're.
Well, I mean, it's what, 2 weeks to post a notice?
Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I mean, you could have if you want to do another meeting on the topic, you have a special meeting.
Right, that was what I was proposing.
Oh, all right, so that can be.
Just continue it to a
Yeah,
certain
you just have to
time.
agree on a date and time, and
So that's the question now. Are we comfortable pushing this, possibly meeting again in 2 weeks? maybe we just meet so that we vote against it and we're done and we close the public hearing.
I don't know that we'd have answers to questions that we have in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't think anything, I mean, I don't know though, if anybody has time to go work with developers for 2 weeks straight, you know?
Is that the only path for you?
If we're looking on clarification of the numbers, I find it very hard to think that we would get the numbers in 4 weeks.
It's fair.
No, I don't think you're gonna get the numbers that you're gonna.
There's just too many variables, right? So every time you, like, yeah, it's just like, you literally have to just do an outlay of like what lots are available, and it's
It's like MBTA all over again.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
Rich, this had no origin other than yourself? This was just your own thoughts at the time? Did it come, are other towns doing it, I guess, is?
No, it was just that I'm more of. It's probably more a pioneer, but sometimes being a pioneer is not so good.
Well, you go to those
Yeah,
town planner meetings once a year with all the other guys.
Well, I think in terms of the tools that are available, that we have, and then the other tools that we need to develop in relation to the, so it's kind of like, I think it makes sense to either like just IP it or have another meeting and then whatever, but
If this gets IP'd, I don't want to lose sight of the bigger picture question that Dan and Melissa and Chris are raising here, where like what is the, what is the point in time we stop coming with Band-Aids and come with a big, like, hey everybody, this is going to be the favorite night of your life because we have a 3-hour presentation for holistic zoning bylaw changes. Right? That's what I want.
Okay. So
you guys are gonna like blow so many minds when that happens.
It's gonna have to be in an air-conditioned location, though.
So to be, I guess I would say pragmatic and realistic to you, that's infeasible when we talk about this topic. You're not gonna solve all the. We're gonna generate.
That's my concern, right?
You're not gonna solve all these problems per se, right? We're not trying to do that. I don't think. I mean.
No, I agree. You're not going to solve all the problems, but there's not a scenario where it's okay. Here's a suite of 3 or 4, zoning updates that we think would.
I think if you were as a
control.
body, if you wanted to have a suite of changes and sell it, and then talk to like everybody's in line, all in that line of people that you got to go to, right? Advisory. We're gonna have we're gonna do the suite of changes. We're gonna go to town meeting, and we're not want to hear about zoning again. Like everybody's gonna get in line with an effort to do that. That makes total sense.
No, totally. I mean, if that's the way that no offense to advisory, but it shouldn't be okay, we're gonna take it little piece by piece because we're annoyed every time you guys bring up zoning.
No, advisory wants
They want
whole law.
comprehensive.
Oh, okay, that's what I
their
thought.
preference.
That's why I was a little confused there.
Keep
Okay.
breaking it apart because a couple of reasons. It's easier for us, given limited time, to focus on it, which makes it easier for us to explain and sell it. And it's just easier for us to do that iterative style of change, and it's worked well for us. That said, we did part 1 or phase 1 of signs, and we haven't had the time to get back to the rest of it.
Right.
So
I mean, there's a whole host of things from 3 or 4 years ago that I had given Rich as a list of things that I wanted to go back to that we haven't touched. I don't even know if you still have that journal anymore.
But you know what, though? We do have an opportunity, because the master plan, we're working on the implementation plan, right?
Yep.
Which we'll do an update next month and have it, ticked and tied and reviewed. But I think that's the opportunity potentially, right? Because we already worked through all of that. We have the high level, we have the housing production plan through Susan and the Affordable Housing Trust. We have all the pieces. I feel like the housing, and I know what you're going to talk about, 40Y and things like that. That's kind of the missing piece. We have to figure out what we're going to focus on for housing that isn't in the Affordable Housing Trust, right? Because Susan has a solid plan. She's good, but we don't for starter homes that,
Right.
or step down homes, because if you have assets, you're not going to qualify for an affordable. So how do we fit in the missing middle into our plan? But I think we kind of have pieces that can pull together to make a plan already, with the master plan, with Sue's plan. It's I feel like this is the missing piece, is housing, that isn't a 3,500 square foot colonial.
So there is, right, so we'll talk about 40Y just shortly, right?
So let me open up questions to the audience. Let's get us out of this public hearing, and then we can move on to other, more fun stuff. Any questions from the audience? Anybody have any comments? All right, hearing none.
We're gonna close it?
I'm looking for a motion to close. You okay with this?
Yeah.
All right. To close the public hearing to discuss the proposed zoning bylaw amendments for the 5/13/26 annual town meeting that was continued from March 25th, 2026.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. The hearing's closed.
Can we have the fan though?
Yeah, it got, that wind stopped and it got pretty warm.
Thanks.
Open this guy.
Are you gonna
Thank you.
take a motion to?
I will. All right.
Dramatic pause.
Oh, dramatic pause, sorry.
I got distracted. Trying to object. All right. Looking for a motion to indefinitely postpone the bylaw amendment for 310-8.2 open space preservation.
So moved.
Do you have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
Who's in there, Gary?
Gary.
Sullivan?
So,
Thank you for the effort, Rich. It's not a.
Way to get on paper. Like that.
I think we'll end up tweaking what he's already done.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
totally.
thing. It's like, I just want to be able to research it more.
Yeah. I'm conscious by the limited time that we have to make an impact in general, right? Like, our time on Earth is short, period, right? Like, our time on the board is even shorter than that. We're on 3-year cycles to begin with. Out of those 3 years, you've got, 36 meetings guaranteed.
Wait, do you just work in meetings? You don't meet with Rich
No,
once a week?
that's when we're allowed to all have a conversation
Oh, yes.
collectively to be
Yes.
able to move things forward, right?
For sure.
right,
So,
understood. All right. Well, we do have some,
all right, 7 Hill Street. Or do you want to go out of order?
I do want to go out of order if we don't mind. So 124 Main Street.
All right, 124 Main Street, informal discussion regarding the proposed training facility.
This is 124 is. Yeah, right.
Behind Dennis.
Where
Yeah,
the
the-
tracks are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
All
where
right, how
the
are ya?
parking is.
Good, introduce yourself.
My name is Ben Brashad. I'm a strength and conditioning coach in the area, and I'm looking to get a sports performance gym open back behind Dunkin' Donuts at 124 Main. A little bit about how the business would run. It would be a appointment-based facility. So we would be doing a little bit of adult personal training in the morning and small group training, mainly between the hours of like 6:30 to 10 a.m. All groups would be staggered. So there would be a 15-minute, maybe a 30-minute break before the next group started, which will help with the traffic accommodation. My bulk of my business would be in the evenings, afternoons and evenings, so 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., maybe occasionally 8 p.m. too, some of those later nights. And that would be the same kind of setup. It would be appointment-based. A weekly schedule would go out, and parents can sign their kids up, middle school, high school, college athletes, to jump into a high school group maybe at 3:15, a middle school group maybe at 4:30, and that kind of setup going forward. So I've just been talking with Rich about what type of plan I need to have in place for the next meeting, and he's just been kind of helping me kind of go through the parking situation, and I wanted to kind of get up here informally and introduce myself and figure out what exactly I need to put before you guys. Rich, if you want to help me.
Sure.
With any.
I think, if you don't mind, the determination first. So, so Ben did apply for the determination of applicability, and so the positive news is that you see the use category that we have, that was part of the B1 zoning change that happened a few years ago.
Congrats.
So that, yeah, thank you for that work that you did. it's just interesting enough within the same determination, talking to the building commissioner on my list, his list, is the uses that we need to update, because there's, huh?
Didn't we just update uses?
Oh, he's got a big list, let's just say that.
Who is
So,
this?
stay tuned.
Building commissioner.
And he has valid reasoning for,
So did the last one.
But
I know.
it's a comprehensive review, I will say, from what I've seen. I think it was.
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I'd like them all at once so that we can just do this one time
okay.
and
Okay.
have a solid
The
plan.
advisory.
So I want you to, so anyway, just, that's kind of an aside, but anyway, so, you want to go, yeah, go back to that, please, the aerial image. So just to familiarize yourself, we have a near map of the property that we're talking about. So this property it predates in terms of having a site plan on record. So as part of the site plan review bylaw, you need to put a site plan on record to be able to facilitate Ben going into that property. So what we discussed was really modeling after, I don't know if everybody was on the board necessarily, but I do have the plan for 104 Pond Street, which is where the auto shop is, and they have car sales there. That happened a few years ago, but essentially they had no site plan either when they went into that property, and they had to create a site plan. So essentially, what we're talking about is the property owner who purchased the property has a surveyor who can put together essentially I'll call it existing conditions plan, more or less, which would have a parking table on it, which would show the parking that Ben needs for his use, and then it's retail next door, I think, right?
It's like a small office.
Small office.
I think there's 10 employees or 12 employees.
So this is kind of the template to use where it checks the box in terms of a site plan to put on record. Ben is not, nor the property owner is proposing any site changes. Essentially, in terms of like, it's a use change. The changes what happen would be striping the parking, because you can see in the previous image, it's not striped. That's one thing. Ben would need to put a handicap spot in, that would be part of it, and then a ramp to get into the space in terms of like on the ground changes to it. But beyond that, it's essentially what's out there, and then really back into the number so that what's paved on the ground today would be striped out and come up with a number, that number, which is roughly, I think Ben went out there, did a little, we're talking maybe
22 with, or
22-ish.
21 in a handicap spot.
There is a right, so if you looked at that, if you go back to that aerial image a minute, please, sorry. You'll actually see, if you see, there's the right-of-way, it's a private right-of-way back to the MBTA lot.
Yep.
There is actually parking way at the back, that there's a landscape island between the MBTA parking lot and that right away. Now you
so on the
way in the back. Yeah.
Can you use the mouse arrow and show me?
I can point to.
Back here?
No, just a little bit to the right.
Down.
The line,
Oh,
the
right
yellow
here.
line there.
Yeah. So what we kind of talked about is that's a right of way. I don't really know the dynamics of whether they're can legally park there or not. So to kind of keep things simple, people are parking there, and then potential clients for Ben would be coming from the commuter train, so they could park there. It's work backwards. So essentially, approve a parking plan for him to get into that space. It will require a special permit, most likely, because to get the number down in terms of required parking. Ben, as he explained his use, is it's specialized, so there's not a high occupant in terms of people there all at once. So, and the non-simultaneous, because if you look there on the weekend, that other building's not occupied, or even in the evening. So there's a lot of sharing going on. But essentially, if the board is open to a plan that's models after Pond Street, which we just showed you briefly, Ben would have to come back for site plan modification with that plan, request a parking reduction. It would limit the occupancy, you know, I mean, how many people can operate in terms of, for his business, and bring this business to the town center. So that's the,
Imagine if we said no, and it's directly next to the most massive parking lot that we have in the whole town.
And if his clients show up after around 1:30ish, after the parking meter truck has gone by, it's free.
I remember that.
so.
I don't know how I know that.
Yeah. So to legitimize it, per se, that we can within the boundaries of the bylaw, that's the concept.
I'm sold.
Yeah, same. It's very flexible, I think, with between the business next door, you know, not being open at night, weekends, parking lot across the street.
Yeah.
And by the time he comes back, Gary's gonna be off into retirement. So
I've been thinking about it.
You won't be here, but there'll be a new member who's in the audience, so she's kind of learning about this already. So that's a nice little.
There's only one person out there.
It's a nice little primer what's coming ahead, but basically that's so. And I didn't want to, again, being a small business, if this had no legs, I didn't want to have him pay somebody to put together a plan and come before you and get blown up.
Yeah, no. This
Oh,
is,
yeah,
this is a
bomb.
better way to do it.
All over. No.
Things happen. Things happen in life. I don't want to, trying to be.
I appreciate that on his behalf.
No, I appreciate it big time.
Small
So-
business owners.
So that's why, so that's the pitch. So it seems within reason?
It seems within reason, yeah.
Does, yeah.
I mean, my only concerns are the ones that the property owner has to ensure that he's mitigating for the tenant with regards to the previous use, right? From like an environmental perspective.
I mean, in terms of like chemicals or whatever.
Possible spilt oil, possible spilt coolant.
Yeah, I think he brought
storage of any of that stuff.
specialists already through there before
Okay.
buying it and had someone do a good cleaning and everything. But I can get confirmation of that too.
That's more for you and your clientele as
Yeah.
opposed to me.
The kids being in there, no, I realize that. I
100%.
mentioned that right when I saw it.
Yeah. So that's
that's my
that's the
biggest.
concept. That's the plan.
Okay.
I like the concept and I like the
right.
location for the concept.
All right. Well,
You throw in a smoothie bar, I'm there.
Give us a group class.
Let me get open first, then I'll work on the food lot for you. So in terms of the special permit for waiving the parking, will that be something I need to apply for before coming back?
it'll be all incorporated in one
Okay,
application.
and we can chat about that?
Yeah, we'll chat about that.
Okay,
for sure.
awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
No, I think he pretty much covered everything. I'm similar to Dave and Wolfpack Baseball, where I don't think I'm going to need that 62 number or even be anywhere close to that. And so even chatting with the other tenant on the other side of the building, I don't think we're going to run into a whole lot of issues in terms of traffic back there. So I'm hoping we can make it work.
Great.
I bet you will actually have people coming straight from the train.
I have a bunch of clients who train with me already who are who just go to Walpole and they're like, oh, 100%, I'm just going to park here
Yeah,
and go right into the city. So it'll work out nicely, I think.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting, huh?
It is exciting.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Wish you the best.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you
Your
next
work
time.
with the zoning, I appreciate that. Making it a little easier on me.
It was all me.
It was all you. You were the only one.
And about 13 other people.
You're the only one in the room.
Thank you so much.
aside from Rick.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So then we go to the top of the order, which
Well,
is
hold on. We also heard quickly from Melissa, we're not hearing a master plan update. We have additional cycles that need to be done before we get an update
Yeah.
there. So
Yes.
that's
Yep.
done. Now we can go to the top, 7 Hill Street, Pondville.
so everything is all set. We just need to have you vote to release the performance bond.
How much was that?
Hold on, I have that right here. I think it's
200 and something.
$200,931.
All right. And our DPW director's all set? Is good? This wasn't DPW?
No,
Who
no.
was
This is just.
He started yesterday, I believe.
So he signed off. Good. Glad.
So he's just got appointed.
Now, what was
Yeah.
remaining on this
What?
one?
Huh?
What was remaining on this one? Pondville Heights?
I think it's done. I think everything's done.
Everything's been done.
Right, but what was the last things we were waiting on?
Actually, it was the snow to melt to get out there and verify.
Just
what
to
was done.
verify it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
we
We had the
waited on
as-built.
as-built plan.
We had a months ago.
Okay, so looking for a motion to approve the release of the performance bond for 7 Hill Street, Pondville Heights. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion's passed. All right, Dan, let's do some meeting minutes.
Oh, I forgot about those.
How could you?
All right.
No.
I think the meeting minutes for March 25th, 2026 have been distributed for review. Any comments, questions?
Nope.
Nope. Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor of approving the March 25th, 2026 meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
All right, so Rich, before you get to your town planner updates, Allery, is it okay if I put you on the spot? Sure. All right. Ms. Braish, would you like to come up, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about why you're here?
Really?
Didn't expect that.
What do you want to know?
We're just going to
What is
prep
it
you
that
for
you're
your
doing?
interview at NCTV.
Running for planning board. I own a small business in town, which is not at all relevant to what happens on this board, but I've been in town for 9 years, I think. Prior to starting my small business, I was a wetland scientist for 15 years, so I've worked private sector, all across the board, like little CVS projects, big utility transmission line projects with like union linemen screaming at me. And then transitioned to be the conservation agent in the town of Sherborne. So, yeah, I mean, worked hand in hand with planning in Sherborne, and I think my skill set will transition nicely. I can read plans, so that's a plus.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome.
We do some work with, trying to enable small businesses. We tackled the sign thing, so
Yep.
there's definitely some overlap there.
Yeah. Yep, I know a lot of the small businesses in town, so.
Awesome. Looking forward to having you on the board.
Yeah, thanks.
When's the election again?
May 5th.
May
Cinco
5th.
de Mayo.
Thank you. Everybody make sure you get out there, vote, have a margarita. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries,
Pleasure.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Rich, any town planner updates?
Yes.
Would you like to share?
I would, yes. So, so the first one is that Rob, Gary, town administrator, talked about reinstituting the zoning bylaw study committee, which was, it hasn't been done for quite some period of time. It was,
Can't ChatGPT do that?
I was totally thinking about that.
what's that?
Review zoning bylaws?
It can, but it doesn't replace the humans yet.
Yet.
I mean, I don't know. I've been spending a lot of time with his friend Claude, and both of them are
Oh, yeah.
pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
I haven't done work in months. Sorry.
What are you talking about?
Claude?
Using Claude.
No.
AI.
Oh, he hangs out with Gemini all the time.
It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Continue.
It's an AI joke? I'm showing my age, but.
We're here all night.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, he talked about bringing back the zoning bylaw study committee, which I said that it probably has some merit, but I thought we could think about it in terms of doing it a pilot, see if it's effective or not. Because we had, this board is really the author of the zoning bylaw changes, so, would there be a couple members of the planning board on it? It wouldn't be the whole board. It'd be some other. So the previous committee had the town planner, the building commissioner, there was a select board member, a member of the Board of Health, a ZBA member.
What's the charter? What is it that they're trying to do? I haven't heard of or.
You haven't heard of this?
No.
It's all news to you? It's really just kind of almost like a steering committee to run zoning bylaw changes through as they come up.
So this would be in addition to the advisory board.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it'd be more in addition to you as a planning board. So, I don't know if it's that.
So we would generate and draft them, and then it would go to this.
No, so for instance, all right.
So they would generate and draft them, and then come to us.
Yeah, they would come to So working through zoning bylaw changes and then present them to the board,
and then we sign off and decide if we want to move them forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of takes some of the weight off of your shoulders.
little bit, yeah, but
How do you feel about that?
if you recall back, I just, bear with me, when we did the B1 changes, we had a committee, and then it just stalled out. There was no actual really zoning bylaw changes, and then we had to bring it back to the board to really move it forward to push it through. So if they push work through and bring zoning to the board, then it could work well, right? Kind of vet things out. So the similar thing we just were working on earlier, the open space bylaw, get some other eyes on it and perspectives on it. And it could include, ideally, I would love to have citizens on it that are more involved with the development community, like doing development, to get their perspective on it. So from the private sector, they did have citizens on it, but they didn't have a development background. So that's kind of a little bit of the missing piece, I feel like, in some of the stuff that we work on.
Yeah.
To kind of, as a sounding board for the changes.
So I kind of see this as solving two things. One, this is a bandwidth solve for you. Two, this kind of allows us an opportunity to have somebody who's devoted to building that larger plan of things that need to get taken care of in order to move a single thing forward, right? And through various bylaw changes to, thwart, let's say, 40Bs or whatever, right? So, I see it as a net positive from that perspective. My concern is exactly what you're saying. From a bandwidth perspective, are they going to stall out? Are they going to be attacking things kind of like a fly swatter method where they see a problem, they try and solve that? Or are they come to us with a plan, right? So your approach with a pilot is ideal, but taking it further and having them come to us with a plan for how they're going to address a problem would be ideal. So go through the bylaws, have them identify a problem that they're trying to solve within that would require multiple bylaws to be updated in order to address, would be my recommendation and my request. If we're not doing it in that perspective, then I don't know that it's necessarily going to be worth it, because otherwise we're just doing the same thing that we're doing with another layer of folks in it.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Vice Chair, please.
To add to what you're saying, I think the right people need to be in place for that to be effective. Additionally, I want to stay optimistic on it, and it's been 12 years since the last committee, and unless I'm misremembering a lot, nothing much came out of that one. At least nothing holistic. It was kind of like one-offs. So, to Chris's bigger point, what problem are they going to try to solve? What's the charge / mission? And the right people have to be in place to actually pull that off. And it's a ton of work. Town Government Study Committee, I was on that. That's small beans compared to zoning bylaw changes. That was a ton of work. That's a lot of research. That's a lot of reaching out to people to get information. So if we can get the right people in place, that could be super effective.
I would almost propose that if you wanted to have, building commissioner for sure, Rob wanted, in terms of the.
I think this is Rob's idea, so let Rob figure out who he wants to staff it, how he wants to propose it. Let him take the footwork.
Well, what I was going to propose is that if a couple planning boards, so not necessarily include all the other folks that were on it before, and maybe if you get some citizens, it's really essentially focused around the planning board, more or less populate it.
I'm not as concerned about having planning board members on it, because ultimately it's coming to us at some point, right? But
I am.
First,
I am too.
Can
you imagine?
But I don't want
bring
to
it and I'm
plan his
let me see
thing
your
right
No,
now.
I totally get it.
Ideally, what I want to do is I want us to understand what
You're
his
open to the
proposal
idea, you want to
is.
hear more.
I want to know what his proposal is.
Yeah,
How is he
all
going
right.
to solve it? And my response back to him is, these are the things that I want to see presented in front of us before we say yes, move forward.
That makes
sense.
sense.
That part of it is who's making up the committee.
Yep.
What problem it is that you're trying to solve, how are you going to solve it, and what's the timeline you're going to adhere to.
Totally right. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, what's in scope, what's out of scope.
Yep.
So we also have the master plan kind of subcommittees where we're going to be just not having the committee at first and just getting started, but that's going to be us as well. So there's a lot of things that are
And
popping
when
up.
we have him and them come to us with that plan, we can say, well, we don't agree with X, Y, or Z, make a modification here, and then we're green, we'll move forward. I mean, that's the way that I think we approach it.
Right.
But I don't want to knock or drive him in a certain direction without knowing what he was thinking in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do have some requirements that I want to loosely bound this by.
No, that totally makes sense. All right, we'll get back to you on that. So the solar bylaw will need to be updated because there is the whole DOEA regulations are coming out. There's the oversight board for larger scale projects, so we will have to make some changes. But just going through the recent experience with the solar, there's probably things we need to take a look at to make some changes to. So that is a bylaw. But we did participate in a grant with MAPC for multiple towns, so that I'm waiting to hear back, but that's something that should happen later this summer. I just want to give you a heads up.
So basically, they'll fund the research that goes into identifying what DEP is saying, how we can adhere to it, all of that stuff, like what we did with the...
It'll be like a clearinghouse for other municipalities to be able, if they want to adapt bylaw changes. So we're one. There's a bunch of towns and swap area, but that's going to happen later. I'll give you the update when that grant will
when we get more
find out when the money is, but that is in the works right now. The other, so two housing related one is the 40Y, which is the small starter homes. I would like us to move forward pursuing that, investigating it. MAPC is doing a regional housing study right now, which that is one of the topics of discussion in it, to work with communities to adopt that. So I think that's that kind of small starter home fit that we talked about. There's an affordable component to it, but it also goes beyond what is captured under 40B. So, families above 80 to 100% median income. I think it's actually 110. Actually, what did I put in there? I should double check. I think it's 110.
Is this going to restrict assets?
Rich, is it similar to 40R, like in the sense that towns get incentive payments?
It is.
It's a carrot, not a stick.
Yeah,
So
no, it
that's
is a carrot. So when you create the district based on potential density, there's a one-time payment, and then per unit produced, there's a $3,000 incentive payment. I think happens at the occupancy permit. No, the difference here is that if it's outside of the subsidized housing income restrictions, it's a different formula. So it's not the asset limitation. So you can, depends how you look at it. You look at it holistically. If you want to help families that are, from 80 on up, this program does it, and you're just not going to get credit in terms of SHI.
So my question, when are we going to get a presentation that kind of goes through this soup to nuts?
I think we probably should soup to nuts. We probably could do maybe, well, it depends on you, when you want to. We can go through it. I don't think you want to go through it tonight. But
No, not tonight.
we can put it on the agenda. Pick
Okay.
one.
Let's do it next month.
Okay. Excellent. And then, somewhat related to it is a TDR bylaw, so transfer development right. That is really a good, preservation and then transfer and development to a concentrated area. So that is a really powerful land use too. I will say though, having done this quite a long time ago, there's really got to be a strong support for it, and when it comes time, the board's behind the idea of like increasing density in one place to send it somewhere else, because you got to make them economic. It's an economic question, right?
What do you mean to send it somewhere else?
So essentially, if you could build 10 lots over here in an area which is designated a preservation area, you send them to the development area.
Gotcha.
So you increase the density there. But when I did this a long time ago, we had the bylaw, we had ideal chapter land on the Taunton River. I go to Raynham, for example. So this is where I started in the late 20s. And they just could not send it. They're like, we love the preservation, but we don't know where we want to send that development. So it would be a little bit different than that one because it would be designated districts. We didn't designate because that's the lift, is where you're sending it, to go to town meeting and say, folks, I'm preserving over here. You might be in this part of the map, but you folks over here, you're getting it.
Yeah, I don't know that we're
But again,
in a
that's
community that would be amenable to that.
okay. Well, that's the holistic tool that's out there. So those are the things. So that's kind of real conversation. I feel like with the public,
Yeah, we do have to at least talk about it.
Yeah,
That's fair, yeah.
yeah. So that's again, that's so those. I think I'm not saying that we're necessarily gonna. I don't have a time frame, but I think we need to start it. And if there's interest to start, I can then apply for grants to kind of help, like, analyze it more to try to see if it's feasible or not.
Did we ever do a follow-up discussion on 40R after the B1 stuff? I don't recall.
No.
No.
We had a very high-level discussion as a possible for the hospital site.
Right.
And after that, it was over.
Well, so 40R in the center of town really essentially is more or less what you voted to recommend at the
Yeah, right.
the public hearing for the P1 changes without the, but, so those are two, so those are, and then the last one, thinking of town center, is what's that, so the TDR is in the master plan, by the way, just FYI. It's in there. And then the other one is the business improvement district. So we are potentially going to realize some development in town. So if there's a time when you want to consider doing a bid, now's the time to be thinking about it, because then you can capture that value that could be directed to the center of town for a variety of different things.
Say more.
So for instance, some of the programming that happens in the center of town could be partially funded with the tax money that is captured from.
Say more about the earlier part.
What's that?
If there's a bid that we want to make, now is the time.
Well, because there's
unravel that a little bit for me. It's late.
Oh, sorry. So the zoning got recommended, it's going to town meeting, let's see if it gets approved. Pulte's gonna propose a project, multi-million-dollar development there. We're working on, it's taking a little bit of time, but we're working to bring sewer to
From
town
the-
center from MCI Norfolk. So that's gonna unlock some other properties, get developed and redeveloped. So it's kind of like the ground floor opportunity to maybe do it. It's a lot of work in terms of the people have to opt in, so there's a lot of, it is an action item on the planning board, and I'm just thinking about in terms of when other towns have put a bid forward, there's a lot of.
You want to do that before that development starts.
Exactly,
Right.
not
Or
after.
not during, so that you can capture all the benefits.
Correct. So that's the,
Can we have like a couple minutes presentation on that next meeting, or do you need more time?
oh, we could do a little bit more on it next meeting.
Okay.
And that's, that kind of wraps up this evening's, oh, well, actually, I should say, one last thing. So you did, in the shared drive, there's the building commissioner has a laundry list of things that you would like to see addressed in the zoning bylaws. And so we need to kind of work towards addressing that. And the one, which we kind of already knew this, is revisiting the site plan approval bylaw itself.
Yeah.
You know,
He put it on the right letterhead, we can review it.
yeah. So, so that's it for this evening.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other updates? Anyone on the board?
Got hot in there again.
This is your last meeting?
No, I got one
you
more.
have two more?
One more.
One more.
Two more,
One
maybe.
more. Two more after this.
Yeah,
June 9th will be your last,
Yeah.
right?
No, no.
Yeah,
12.
May 12th will be your last one.
12.
No.
Yeah.
You're done. What are you talking about?
I'm done now?
This is it.
Well, the election's on the 12th,
Yeah.
on the
No, it's on the
5th.
5th.
Fifth.
No, so that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, so this
Oh,
is
my
your last
God.
meeting.
No cake, nothing.
Oh,
Cake or nothing, what the heck?
It's all right.
So, you know, Gary, we do have
Yeah, yeah.
you can be associate for a day next time, and we can bring you a cake.
I can, I'll
Actually, I
just
know
move
where to
over
get
one
one.
chair. It'll all be good.
So there is the next chair opening. That's, has not been
He doesn't
filled.
want to do that. He wants to go down to where
I know,
Mattapoisett,
sure.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to.
I do that anyway, yeah, but
Well, thank you again for serving on the board.
all I did was fill in for Chad for a little.
Yeah, but you came back under your own volition as an associate for some time, and then you filled Chad's seat for quite some time. And the knowledge that you have from your years on the board prior, when I first joined, you were on the board, and you showed me how to be the clerk and do all of those things. You know, I'm really grateful. Appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
I'll see you every day anyway,
That's
out
right.
for your walks.
Yeah.
He probably wished he didn't see me in the Y that day, but anyway, no.
Yeah,
very
I'm
grateful that you-
remembering that, yeah. You know, I
Is that why
just
you
thought of
started going to the
something.
other way?
He simply made change.
I checked the parking lots now.
Yeah, check the parking lot, but
All right. Well, thank you again.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much. Have a good night.